Hey everybody. Whoa, what's going on? Hold on. I'm over in the corner here. There we go. Hey everybody. Hope everybody is doing good tonight. This is our missing person Monday live stream a day late. I just needed a little bit more time to get everything ready that I wanted to share with you guys tonight. And we're going to be doing Anchorage, Alaska, some missing person cold cases. So another reason I was a day late is because Sunday night, Josh Sapaj, I was on his channel. We did a live stream, shared some missing persons cases from the Southern Plains. I really enjoyed that. Thought it went very well. Josh is a great guy, so smart. And I was just honored that he would invite me to be a guest on his channel. And I hope to get to do it again sometime soon. So anyway, let's see who is here. I know I have no cam tonight. It's just been rainy and dreary here today. So I'm just like, I didn't feel like, getting ready and all that good mess. But anyway, let's see who is here. Hopefully this rain will move out. We need the rain here in Arkansas, but this kind of weather, all I want to do is lay in bed and sleep. Anyway, so Heather checked in earlier, so she was stopped back by. Always good to see Heather. Mustang is here. Well, there she is. Sorry, I'm working off my phone. Once again, my farm signal is not up to par, so I can get StreamYard. Another reason I'm just using my cam tonight, or no cam tonight, is because my farm signal is even sketchier than usual. I couldn't get StreamYard to come up at all on the laptop to run the comments and everything. So maybe one of these days I'll have proper Wi-Fi and not have to go through my phone. Anyway, good to see you, Mustang. Miss Lisa Joe is here. Always good to see Lisa Joe. Miss Avery is here. Hello, dear. How are you doing? Junior is here. There he is. There he is. Good to see you, sir. And I started 30 minutes earlier tonight also. We usually start at about 8:30, but I've got the house to myself. I had the house to myself a little bit earlier tonight. So we'll get started a little bit earlier, so maybe Junior can watch a little bit more before his bedtime. And he is in Michigan tonight. I don't want to know. I don't even, and just Lord, thoughts and prayers to everybody who's in the path of Hurricane Melissa. I think it hit Jamaica today. Just a bad deal. So hopefully she will die out soon and not cause too much more damage. Sorry, my phone screen. I should have cleaned my phone screen before I started. There's Josh. Speak of the devil. Hello, Josh. How you doing? I was just telling everybody how much I enjoyed being on your live stream with you Sunday night. So please do. Somebody can. Have I not given? Oh, Josh is into where lavender grows. If he comes in under his under Josh the Posh, I think he has a wrench. But somebody can please throw in Josh's link. But yeah, I really enjoyed being on with Josh, and I've got people have messaged me and said, really enjoyed, the show the other night over on Josh's channel. So I'm thrilled. Chris is here. Hello, sir. Good to see you. Gibbo's here. I'll be frank. Well, if I don't accidentally put him in timeout. There we go. Good to see you. Didn't you and Miss PJ do a live stream earlier? Or a dual stream maybe? Because I know I got notifications. I was busy. I couldn't join in chat. But I think I got notifications that y'all were maybe Zachary Vidal, maybe doing that case. Anyway, I'll definitely be replay crew. And anybody who's watching this on replay, thank you so much. We love our replay crew. Let's see. There's our dandy Linus. Hello, dear. Good to see you. It's good to see everybody here on a Tuesday. Like I said, we usually do this, excuse me, obviously on Mondays because it's Missing Person Monday, but every once in a while we'll switch it to Tuesdays. So just good to see everybody here tonight. Let's see. There's Miss Paula. How are you doing, Miss Paula? I watched Miss Paula did some over on her channel. Please do check out Miss Paula. She did a couple of reviews. Let's see, which ones did you do? I watched two of them. One was on the new series, the It TV series, Welcome to Derry, and then a movie. I can't remember exactly which movie. It might be Frankenstein. Really enjoyed Miss Paula is always so positive every morning. She has a positive short that she uploads. She does her movie reviews, her TV show reviews, and I really enjoy it. Really enjoy it. Hey, Princess, good to see you. What? Dandy, is autocorrect getting you already? Humans, not humans. Her hymen. Oh, goodness. I'm going to leave that one alone. Let's see. Thank you. Yeah, Miss Avery says it was a good live. Yeah, Miss Avery's there. And thank you, everybody who was there watching it live in the chat with us, or if you were lurking and watching it live, thank you. Replay crew, please watch it on replay if you weren't able to catch it live. That definitely does count. It does help. Thank you very much. Gibbo says do all the things. Hit the like, share it, subscribe. All the things. Oh, it was my pleasure, Josh. Josh says, thank you, Southern Gal. I had an awesome time hanging out with you. Absolutely. Me too. I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to doing another one. Just caught up in comments and we will get started. And I had a hard time choosing which, and we may revisit, of course, we've made our way through the 50 states for, I don't know how long it took us, just sharing 5 or 6 cases from each of the 50 states. And then, I was trying to think, what we can change it up a little bit, what we can do a little bit different. So I'm like, well, we'll just feature a city here and there. So now we're going to try to feature at least one, go through, start and go through, feature at least one city from each state. I've been trying to keep up with which states we've covered so far. I got to looking at Anchorage, just get on the Charlie Project to get the basic information. And there obviously are a lot of people missing everywhere, but it seemed like in Anchorage and Nome and one other city in Alaska, there was just tons and tons and tons. So I chose Anchorage. So maybe next time around we might have to do Nome. And there's, like I said, one other city that had a lot, and I can't remember it now, of course. Thank you, Miss Avery became a new member. Thank you so much, ma'am. Let me see if I can find the moo cow here on the phone. There she is. Thank you so much, Miss Avery. It is very much appreciated. Thank you to all the members. We love you guys. We love everybody, members, subscribers. Like I said, if it's your first time here, if you've watched, a few or whatever, and kind of get a feel for, because I do that too. When I find a new creator, I'll watch a few live, few lives, a few videos, and before I decide whether I want to subscribe or whatever, or become a member, either one. And because you really have to, I don't want to harp on the subject, but we really have to be careful, those of us who are here for the right reasons, be very careful about from where we get our information, how we get our information. We don't want to, at least around here, we don't want to get into all the drama and things of that nature. You guys know the drill, you guys who've been around for a while. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, Julie, good to see you. She's I made it. It's been a heavy day. So glad to be here. A heavy day. Uh-oh. I hope nothing's too heavy is going on for you, Miss Julie. But it's good to see you, my dear. Thank you very much. Miss Lisa Joe got Josh's link in. Yeah, I was gonna, because I'll look. Yeah, when you're here under Josh the Posh, yeah, you have a wrench. Because I was looking, I'm like, I know I gave Josh a wrench, but I didn't see the little wrench out beside. I'm like, oh, it's here. It's because he's under his channel name. So anyway, if I don't know if I could get YouTube to come up on my laptop right now. I'm lucky, just keeping my fingers crossed about all my articles loading tonight too, that I'm going to read from. Oh my goodness, Junior, what were you doing? Junior says he drove about 500 miles today and he's worn out. Well, I imagine so, sir. Are you pulling up? Sorry. Once again, I apologize for the crackly voice and the sniffing. I don't know if it's the allergies or if I'm getting whenever the weather starts changing, I always get a cold. So I don't know what it is. And what another reason for no cam, because I'm gonna be constantly, having to, blow my nose and all that stuff. But anyway, I'm curious to know if he can if he will say why Junior was driving 500 miles. Are you pulling a Mr. Steve? That's what I want to know. God bless you, sir. That's a lot of miles. Thank you so much, Mustang. Sent a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, my dear. I appreciate that very much. Excuse me, once again. Feel like I'm about to lose my voice. Okay, every time I go back, lots of comments have cropped up here. Oh, sorry, that was wait a minute. Did I have the wrong one? No, hold on. Goodness gracious, whole bunches of comments. Lord of mercy. Hold on. You get down to the there we go. Once again, thank you, Mustang. As I was saying, all any super chats, super stickers, memberships, anything that's donated through, I have Cash App and PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee. Everything goes back right back into the channel to help keep it going. Mostly, as I say, to pay for StreamYard. which I don't even know unless I just had to have it to do these live streams, because I don't like to go through YouTube to do the live streams. I like to have be able to do slideshows and things of that nature. But good Lord, StreamYard, for as expensive as just the basic plan is, like $45, and it, it'll work on my phone, but not to be able to get it to work on my laptop to make things run a little bit more smoother. It's irritating. But anyway, I appreciate anything and everything, as always. So thank you once again, Mustang. Dandy says she's got dad duty tonight with the little one. Her hubs is hunting. Yeah, it's getting the season around here too. It'll be deer season before you know it. Here in Arkansas. Hey, Butterfly Kisses, good to see you. Good to see everybody here tonight. You talking about Gibbo and Miss PJ? Yeah, I'm gonna have to be replay crew. I said I remember getting a notification that both of them were going, from Miss PJ's channel and from Gibbo's channel. I'll be frank, and I was doing something, I don't know, maybe trying to finishing up for tonight. And then I forgot to check back. I will definitely check it out. Here it just started raining again. I've got my window cracked here. Started raining again. Okay, excellent. Gibbo says PJ streams my interviews if she's free. It helps get more awareness. Absolutely. Julia said Tuesday is good for her. There don't seem to be a lot of Tuesday night lives. Yeah, I might have to start doing something on Tuesday nights. Maybe the missing person Monday can be maybe turn into missing person Tuesday. I don't know. Absolutely. Thank you to everyone's support. Dandy's mooing. Watch out. Dandy's mooing. Yeah, you never know where Junior is. He's either in Kentucky, Michigan, or apparently somewhere in between at any point in time. Oh goodness. Let's see. Oh, Josh, thank you so much. Josh gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, my friend. That is very kind. I appreciate that so much. Please, guys, go. I can't say it enough. Go check out Josh's channel. It's just fantastic. He does such a fantastic job on all his live streams he's done so far. Wow. So thank you. You guys can look on the YouTube side and let me know who were the lucky recipients of the. I hope they think they're lucky recipients to get a Southern Girl True Crime membership. I can't see it on StreamYard, but congratulations to everybody. Yep, Josh is, if we come up, there he is. Awesome. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Julie said we have a lot of familiar names in the house tonight. Maybe Tuesday's a really good evening. Yeah, we might have to become Missing Person Tuesday. Yep. Thank you once again. Josh says, cheers to new members in honor of my live with Southern Gal. Thank you so much. You're going to make me tear up. Hey, Patriotism. There we go. Patriotism. Good to see you. Oh, did you get a membership? Excellent. Patriotism has been around for a while now, supporting the channel. Glad to see that you got a membership. Oh, would you like to, Miss Julie? Oh, shoot. Trying to put somebody in timeout accidentally. There we go. Miss Julie says, too cute. Yeah, you like the moo cow. Once again, thank you, Junior. $5. Thank you so much. We're filling up the pasture, guys. Thank you so much, Junior. Appreciate it, my friend. Junior has been around since the beginning. Once again, just like Josh. I've known of Junior and Josh and a lot of you guys since even before I started my channel, before Josh started his channel. We would see each other mostly in Mr. Steve's chats. So I've known Junior for a long time also through YouTube. And Junior's a good guy. Junior is a good guy. I appreciate that so much. All right. Yeah, Miss Avery said, going back to what I was saying about when I find a new channel or a new creator to watch, I'll watch a few things before I subscribe. I mean, you know, it's not like it's a big, now becoming a member is a little bit different thing because you're all paying money, but you know, you can always hit unsubscribe, but you could always, cancel your memberships too. But yeah, I'll watch a few things before I subscribe because I'll, forget and forget to unsubscribe if for some reason, I don't feel like I want to be subscribed to any particular channel or whatever. But so Miss Avery says I've learned hard lessons on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm only a member, I think right now, of one of Mr. Steve's channel. But if my financial situation ever straightens up, I might, but which I think I was only a member of two channels. One of them I did end up canceling. But not going to cancel the membership to True Crime Web. So there's Miss PJ. Hello, my dear. Good to see you. Oh my goodness, Julie. I hate to hear that, my dear. Julia says my aunt is in hospice and my best friend was in a head-on collision this morning. I'm so sorry to hear that, my dear. Thoughts, prayers, and good vibes going out your way. That's hard. Yeah, I know about those car accidents. My dad was actually that's the way he passed away. Was in a car accident. So it's hard. Hey, talking about a country accent, you hear me, right? Yes, now that song is going through my head. Thanks, Mustang. Now that song is going through my head. At least Junior wasn't walking, I guess. He said he was driving. Yep, definitely prayers to Miss Julie. Hey, Farq, good to see you. Farq says she's listening. Good to have you here. Get caught up. Absolutely. Yes, it is. I agree. Avery says StreamYard is ridiculously expensive. I agree. I said I only have the cheapest basic plan, and the only reason I have that is, a paid plan because you can get a free plan on StreamYard, but the free plan only includes a certain amount of hours a month you can use as far as live streams and videos. So I would run out of hours between the live streams I do, and I do use StreamYard to do my videos. So therefore, I have to have the basic plan, which when it started out, when I first got it, it was not $44. I can tell you that. It might have been $15 or $16, $20 maybe. And then all of a sudden it kicked up to about $44, $45. But anyway. Avery says she did major cleaning today to show her house. Think you got a buyer. Excellent. All right. Miss PJ says she thinks her brain is rotting from the protest. Oh my God, yeah. That's a whole other can of worms. That's okay, Josh. Josh says I might have to cut out early though. I already did a True Crime Tuesday earlier for the library. Excellent. Once again, so Josh now is back under Josh the Posh. Please do check out Where Lavender Grows. Once again, you're going to get tired of me harping on it, but hey, Sunday Doodles, good to see you. Hey, Lance, good to see you. Our friend from Canada, one of our friends from Canada. How are you doing, sir? So as far as the new members, I think she's been a member. She may have redid her membership, but thank you, Miss Farr. Too kind, too kind. Miss Farr's been a big supporter, good supporter for a while now. Also, okay. So on that note, I'm going to stop for a minute with the comments, but and start getting some cases in. But I will check back if I have not welcomed you in yet. Don't worry, I will get to you. I get to absolutely everybody at some point in time. So let me. Goodness, got comments everywhere. Love you guys. Holy moly. There we go. Okay, let me mark it because I will definitely definitely lose it. Okay. Oh, I guess I need my slideshow. That might help. There we go. So once again, we are featuring cases from Anchorage, Alaska. I think I have 6 of them, but as me and Josh talked about on his live stream Sunday night, in a lot of these cases, there's just not a lot of information. But I told him when I'm as far as I'm concerned, when I'm looking for cases to share with you guys, I want to have enough information to make it, informative, interesting, have good content, with as much factual information as I can find. But then again, if you find cases that do have a lot of information, as far as a lot of news articles, things of that nature, interviews with family, interviews with law enforcement, that does mean, which is a good thing, that it has got some attention, as far as news coverage, even if it's just local, because a lot of times cases don't get local coverage. But on the other side, if you have a case that there's not a lot of information out there about, that you just can't find anything other than stuff that's been posted on Facebook, other stuff that's on YouTube, those are actually the cases that really need to be shared more often to bring more awareness to them. Because I've literally looked up, even on my little, 1,000 subscriber channel, my little corner here, I've literally gone on Google and looked up cases where some of my YouTube videos have come up in like the first page of a Google search as far as coverage. And I'm like, whoa. So that tells me that there's, not a whole lot of information out there. So anyway, I was able to find some articles with, I think all but maybe 2 of these cases tonight. But anyway, I will quit my babbling as usual and we will get started. If I can get my phone to work. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. Lord of mercy. Pushed the wrong button. It threw me into full screen on my phone. Now I can't see anything. Nope. I think that is the first one. Okay, this should be Karen Dean Evan. Once again, my screen's so small I can't see it. Anyway, Karen has been missing since May 1st, 1980 from Anchorage. She's a Native American female. She was just 18 years old when she went missing. She would be 63 years old. It's just, whenever I look at the age they went missing, because on Charlie Project, it gives the age they went missing and then the age they would be now as of whatever year it is. It just blows me away how long a lot of these people have been missing. So she'll be 63 years old as of 2025. When she went missing, she was 5'2" tall, 125 pounds, with brown hair, brown eyes. Charlie Project has no listed last known clothing or jewelry. So Karen's family last heard from her in May of 1980. She was living in Anchorage at that time. She usually spoke to her family members, they said, several times a week. excuse me, but they never heard from her after May of 1980. At the time of her disappearance, she was expecting a visit from a sister in Canada. They say she was looking forward to it. The circumstances surrounding her disappearance are unknown. So that is about all the information I could find. I was not able to find an article. I think she was listed on maybe the NamUs, which is the same basic information, all the like NamUs, Doe Network, things of that nature. But it does not. I was actually interested. I was trying to find actually. No, maybe it was on the other case. If she was originally from Alaska or had moved there, because in a lot of these cases that I was looking at on the Charlotte Project, they would originally be from another state, or born in another state, living in another state, had moved to Alaska for whatever reason. I found a lot of cases like that. But anyway, if you do have any information, you can call the Anchorage PD at 907 786 8500. So that was Karen. And like I said, I was not able to find an article for her. So next we will go to Damon Justin Bonds. Damon has been missing since March 27th, 2004 from Anchorage. He is a white male. He was 31 years old when he went missing. He would be 53 years old as of 2025. When he went missing, he was 5 foot 5 inches tall and 140 pounds, with brown hair and hazel eyes. It said he had previously fractured his right arm. His left ear is pierced. He wears eyeglasses with small gold tan wire frames. And I believe I did include the picture. It had one or two pictures on Charlie Project where it showed him wearing the glasses. So he was last known, no clothing description, but it said he usually wore silver rings and a leather strap necklace with a medallion. So Damon was last seen in the DeLong Lake parking lot. Now this is another one that, vanished into thin air, although we know that can't happen, obviously. But he was last seen in DeLong Lake parking lot in the vicinity of the 6300 block of Jewel Lake Road in Anchorage. This was around 8 p.m. on March 27th, 2004. Several days later, his black and gray 1995 Ford F-250, a pickup truck, was found in the parking lot where he was last seen. His cell phone was on the front seat. The doors were unlocked. And his dog, which is a Labrador Retriever mix named Scully, was in the bed of the truck, alive and well. But Damon has never been seen or heard from again. He is a graduate of Deer Park High School in Deer Park, California. So here's one. He had lived in Anchorage for 5 years prior to his disappearance. His family lives in Houston, Texas. Police checks with local airlines showed that he did not fly out of Anchorage at least under his own name. Now, if he, for whatever reason, decided he was going to leave Anchorage for whatever reason, and go back to California or maybe to Texas with his relatives, unless he did it under another name, an alias, which I don't know why he would. He did not fly out. Now, he could have driven, obviously, at least part of the way. So his relatives say that Damon was very attached to Scully, the dog, and would not have left him behind. And also he also had an infant son. They say he would not have abandoned his son. He did call his family regularly, but they have not heard from him since March of 2004. It does say foul play is suspected in the disappearance, and it remains unsolved. So once again, if you have any information, you can call Anchorage PD at 970-786-8500. I believe I was able to find on his. I found about 2 or 3 short articles, but each article had a little nugget of info. I find a lot of times when I'm on the Google machine researching these cases, looking for any information, that you might find a whole bunch of articles that came up that basically have the same story, but then again, in every article, you'd be like, oh, that little bit of information wasn't in the other article, or that bit of information wasn't in that article, and it's things that might help you piece together the puzzle a little bit more. So anyway, this first one is, I don't know if it's still active, but apparently at some point, his family, trying to get my article to load, was offering a $20,000 reward for information. Now, once again, it may take a minute to load, or if it won't load, I may just go to one of the other articles if they will load. Oh, come on. Let me try one of the other articles. I'm just crossing my fingers that anything will load tonight besides the Charlie Project. But if they don't, at least we have Charlie Project information. At least a little bit of awareness is getting out. Let me check your comments while I'm waiting to see if anything will load. Get back down to where I was at. Lots of comments. Can't remember that. Maybe that's the one okay. Miss Farr gifted a Southern Gal True Crime membership. Thank you, ma'am. Goodness gracious. Hold on. I'm losing everything. Thank you, Miss Farr. It is very much appreciated. Oops. Well, guys, we may end up with no articles loading. Let me try the other article. Thank you, Miss Farr. That was congratulations to whoever got. Josh gifted some earlier. Miss Farr gifted one, so congratulations to the recipients. All right, I might have to close out the tab and then redo the tabs. Sometimes that works. I apologize. You guys know how it is for me. Just checking your comments while, oh, goodness. Josh says he does the same thing, often watches for a while before he subscribes. I'm glad I'm the only one that does that. Oh my goodness, now it's telling me it can't reach pages. Jeez Louise. Let me try that one again. Junior says, oh, it's talking about Farr's name. Okay. Yeah, I'm still, Josh says he's still on True Crime Web too, even though there haven't been a live in a long time. Yeah. Mr. Steve, he popped in the other night. What was it when we were doing, when I did my live stream Friday or Thursday, Friday, whenever it was. I think Mr. Steve popped in. And as far as I know, I will be able to do a live stream Friday night on Halloween. So if anybody would like to, is not doing anything else, if you're like me, I'm to the point now, I don't like to go out and be around people. So I don't, and I live out in the country, so we don't have any trick-or-treaters out here. We used to go to into town. My youngest brother and sister-in-law would always do a lot of, we would dress up for the kids and decorate the outside of the house and hand out candy and things, but it's just, a whole lot of we don't get a whole lot of, I mean, and even in this small town and the neighborhoods I lived in, we probably get 150 to 200 kids, and this is a town of less than 2,000. But there's just not a lot of kids that come around anymore. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I know a lot of places like churches, because our church does the trunk or treat, like in like community centers and things like that, do things like that on Halloween. So maybe that has something to do with it. But hey, True Crime Talk with Frank Meister. Good to see you, sir. Always good to have you in here. Please do check out Frank Meister. Yeah, Mr. Steve has been working on some cases. Oh my goodness. Still, I may just have to end up giving you the trolley project information on all these, because none of my articles I was going to read from is wanting to come up. We'll try one more, and then if that won't work, we'll just go on to the next. Hopefully the trolley project information will still keep loading. See, and I have 3 bars tonight on my phone, which is unusual. So it looks like stuff should be loading. Hey, I'm going to assume it's Matt from Lots of Reunification. Hey, an article loaded. Matt from Lots of Reunification on Facebook loaded. Good Lord, y'all. I promise I have not been drinking. All I have in my cup here is sweet tea. Anyway, welcome to Matt. Please do check out Lots of Reunification on Facebook. Matt and Miss Rose and everybody over there does such a good job of making missing persons flyers and sharing them. Even for cold cases, which you don't see a lot of. A lot of times if I have a cold case that I want to just share a flyer for, or to use on a slideshow, or for a video, or whatever the case may be, because I do upload videos during the week, along with the 1 or 2 live streams I do a week. But a lot of times for these cold cases, I'll go to Lots of Reunification and for whatever person I'm looking for, and there will be a flyer for a cold case that I'm looking into, and I'm like, yes, always count on those guys over there. Anyway, oh, you're talking about StreamYard. Frank Meister says 20 hours a month. Yeah, I believe that's what the free plan is on StreamYard is. But yeah, 20 between my 3 or 4 hour live streams, and the videos that I because once again I do use StreamYard to record my videos and things of that nature. But yeah, 20 hours a month definitely wasn't enough, and I'm not even sure how many hours I get with the paid plan that I have, the basic plan. But it's enough, obviously, I guess, to do everything that I do. All right, so this all right, so let me mark there so I can find it where I left off later. All right, so I got one article to finally load for Damon's case. It's from abc7.com. It is from July of 2013. Family reconnects in surprising way with loved one missing in Alaska since 2004. Excuse me. Once again, I apologize for the coughing. So it says, meet Damon Bonds, available only through photos and the missing person flyer, which details his disappearance in 2004. He remains missing to this day, but his family recently found a mysterious way to reconnect. His father, Carl, says, quote, "It was amazing. I didn't know what to think. I turned around and looked at it, and it was just right there. It was surreal." So Carl Bonds is talking about a panel on the ceiling, above their table at the Cadillac Bar in Kemah. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Kemah. Among hundreds and maybe thousands of other customers' messages is his son's signature, Damon Bonds, Alaska or bust. So I have been into, I can't think of the name of the restaurant, but there are several different restaurant chains, or maybe some, maybe not national brands, but just like little hole, what we call hole in the wall restaurants that you find in some towns that encourage you to, you can write on the wall, as long as it's nothing crazy, profane, or anything like that, leave a little message, write your name. There's one place we go to, I think it's in Memphis, because we used to go to Memphis a lot, not so much anymore, but back in like the 90s to early 2000s. And there's a place we would eat. I can't even think of it was a little hamburger joint on the corner, close to Beale Street. Anyway, you could, I don't know how people did it, but that people would throw, had, the paneled ceiling, or popcorn ceiling, I guess you would call it, or with the panels. And you could people would throw toothpicks and they would stick into the top of the ceiling. Don't ask me how they got a toothpick. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, that just reminded me of that when it said that they found Damon's signature where he'd signed this wall, Alaska or bust. So Damon actually grew up in Houston, but fell in love with Alaska, and he moved there to work. So that's how he ended up in Alaska. His nephew, Indigo, Damon Bonds, who is named for him, recently started work at that restaurant. So family came down. The nephew says, family came down and decided to come eat and see me. They just happened to sit in their right spot and look up and saw my uncle's name written there years ago before he left. So once in Alaska, they say Damon fell in love. He started a new life, but then he went missing from Anchorage. Carl, his father, says they found his dog Scully, who's a female boxer terrier mix, in the back of the truck under a canopy, and his cell phone was in the front seat, and Damon was just gone. He was not there. They said there was no evidence of a crime and never any solid leads, but his father is holding on to hope. He says, I've been asked about a memorial service, but he says, I won't do it. He's still missing. He is still out there somewhere. And they said in this article, maybe his signature is a sign. I know it just sent chills down my spine when I was reading this the first time, when his nephew said, the one who worked at the restaurant, said, the family just happened to sit at that particular table, and just where they would be easily look up and be able to see Damon's signature there. So his dad says, this is telling me, Dad, I'm still here. And this is me telling him, we are still looking for you. So I just thought that was, like I said, just I get shivers at my spine once again, reading it again. It's just, like I said, one of these things, and I'm trying to think of some of the little details that were in these other articles. But yeah, it said the dog was found in the back of the truck, underneath the canopy, like it was scared. I said it was kind of huddled up under the canopy, like I think it's a male dog, like he was just scared, or didn't know what was going on. He was alive, he was okay, but just kind of scared, kind of huddled underneath that canopy. They found his phone there. It's just these are the kind, I've said all the time, these are the kind of cases that just keep me awake at night, because where did he go? Did he leave of his own accord? But why would he? They said he would never leave his dog behind. Now we do know, we understand things do happen that cause people that will make people do things that they say they would not ever do. But I don't know. So did he leave of his own accord, for whatever reason? Did something nefarious happen? It's just, anyway, these cases, just like I said, these are the kind of cases that keep me up at night. All right, let me hopefully the Charlie Project will load. Let me get while it's loading, get into some of your more you guys comments. I can't talk, Lord have mercy. All right, so it loaded. I'm gonna get some comments in right quick. I hate to get too behind. Make sure I haven't missed anybody who's come in. Savory says she'll only be doing pre-recorded videos, so no StreamYard for me, thank goodness. Yeah, I do like I said, I do pre-recorded videos that I upload during the week. little short videos. Some, I think, they can be anywhere from like 3 minutes up to maybe 20, 25, depending on, once again, how much information I found on whatever unsolved homicide case I share. I share missing persons, so depending on what kind of, but I don't know how else to record it besides through StreamYard. I mean, I could do it, just record it on my phone, but I couldn't share the slides and stuff that I use. But anyway, enough of my bitching about StreamYard. Thank you once again. Yes, I love the name of Josh's channel. Absolutely. Chris says, Josh, yeah, patriotism said, thanks for the membership. Absolutely. Miss Paula says, go Blue Jays. She must be watching baseball. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Telling you, we got a good crowd tonight. I said earlier, we may have to start being Missing Person Tuesday instead of Missing Person Monday. I just was unsure. I try not to the best of my ability, because there's so many creators out there, try not to, do lives at the same time, especially our friend channels, and everybody knows who our friend channels are. If you don't, you can go to the main page of my channel and scroll down to, it says where to, visit our friends. And I need to add some more on, change some out, add some more. So I try not to overrun them, but it's just, I can't possibly, none of us who do live streams or have a YouTube channel can, ever fully not do a live stream at the same time as somebody else. But I try my best not to. Yep, Josh says, thank you. I put a lot of thought and went through so many names. Who you call it? Gibbo's calling somebody Gramps. Let's see. As far as says, she subbed to Miss Avery, Sins and Secrets. Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. Mark there. Oh, let me advance my slide. Keep forgetting to do stuff. All right. So this is Jael Hamblen. She's been missing since October 11th, 2014 from Anchorage. She's a white female. She was 20 years old when she went missing. She would be 31 years old as of 2025. And when she went missing, she was 5'4" tall and 170 to 185 pounds, with brown hair and green eyes. So the reason I included the picture with the pink hair is I said that her natural hair color is brown, but she had dyed it pink shortly before her disappearance. So that's why I included the picture with the pink hair. It says she's supposed to wear glasses, but doesn't always wear them. Her ears are pierced one time each. She has a strawberry birthmark at the base of her skull above her neckline. She may go by the name Sasha or her middle name, Tiara, which was also her birth name. She was last known to me wearing a dark blue or black pea coat made of wool-like fabric, wide leg blue jeans, dark colored high-heeled shoes or boots, and a dark colored scarf and earrings. So under her medical conditions, it says that she does suffer from fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, which is a developmental condition caused, obviously, when the mother drinks alcohol during pregnancy. I've always heard it called, I don't know if it's the same thing. I've always heard it called fetal alcohol syndrome, I believe. So I don't know if the fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is the same or just an offshoot of it. So the condition's symptoms include developmental delays, learning disabilities, hyperactivity, and behavioral issues. So Jael was last seen in the Trailside Loop area in southern Anchorage on October 11th, 2014. She and her roommate, Kendra Estrada, went out to dinner together, and they returned home, they said, a little bit before 10 p.m. So her roommate, Kendra, which was the roommate, her children, and Tiara's or Jael's infant son were being babysat by Kendra's mother at the time. It says Jael was thinking of going out again after they got back, after she and the roommate got back from eating, but the roommate went to bed, didn't want to go out anymore. So that night, apparently that maybe upset Jael, because it says that night Jael was upset because a man that she was interested in had rejected her. So she was upset about that. Maybe that's why she was wanting to just kind of go out and maybe go to some bars or whatever, or to some restaurants, just go hang out to get her mind off things. So she texted a male friend at around 1:40 a.m. She told this male friend that she was crying and she wanted to get together with him. She exchanged text messages with another man shortly after that, around 3 a.m. And this is the last time anyone heard from her. So that kind of concerns me, just in looking at this case. That once again, I'm not saying this in any form of judgment, but just that she was text messaging these different people and then she disappears. So Kendra, her roommate, texted Jael the next day at around 10:30 a.m. Jael did not respond, and around noon, Kendra knocked on her bedroom door. That's when she discovered she was gone. Jael's bed was left unmade. So apparently Jael had taken her purse and cell phone with her, but she left her vehicle, which was a 1998 Ford Expedition, parked in the driveway. So, I mean, the possibilities, did she walk somewhere or did somebody come and pick her up? Now, just probably top of my list, but let me know in chat. I would think that maybe somebody of these people that she was texting maybe came and picked her up, because she did have her personal cell phone with her, but her vehicle was still there. I just don't know if she would have. I don't know. I've never been to Alaska. I don't know how big Anchorage is, the neighborhood. Was there anything within walking distance for her to walk to? So that just leads me to think, in my opinion, that maybe somebody picked her up. So it does say that she did not have a driver's license, but she did have a learner's permit. So apparently she did know how to drive. Does not say how much she drove. So Kendra, the roommate, initially assumed that Jael had gone out the night before and stayed out all night or left home early in the morning. She texted Jael twice during the afternoon, but got no response. Calls to her phone went straight to voicemail. So that would mean either the phone was off or the phone was dead. And Jael has never been heard from again. A later analysis of Jael's phone showed that neither of Kendra's, the roommate's text messages on October 12th were received, meaning that Jael's phone was either turned off or the battery had died. And she was reported missing by her mother on October 14th. In March of 2015, so this worries me also, obviously. In March of 2015, hikers found Jael's black purse buried in the snow along a trail in, I'm going to butcher this name, Chugiak, Chugiak, Alaska. Don't know how far it is from Anchorage. They turned this person to the police, and when the police got it, they found Jael's social security card and her iPhone 5, so that's how they knew it was her purse. Authorities do not believe that Jael placed it there herself. The weather on that night that she disappeared was below freezing. That's another reason I think maybe she didn't just take off, and which, she could have, but, it was cold outside. I don't know that she would have just taken off and started walking somewhere. And they also say she did not enjoy hiking, so therefore that's why they find it odd her purse was found on a hiking trail. So Jael was born in Washington State. She spent the first 14 months of her life in foster care before being adopted. She was raised in Wasilla, Alaska, and she also spent time in Washington with her father after her parents' divorce. It says growing up, she struggled with cognitive, social, and developmental delays due to this fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, which she was eventually diagnosed with. Her mother stated that she began rebelling in her early teens, that she dropped out of high school and ran away from home for the first time at age 17. So she was, what did I say, 20 years old when she went missing. Sorry, I lost my place. However, her family stated that the birth of her son, and I can't remember if I read anything about how old her son was. It said it was an infant son. Her family said the birth of her son had given her purpose in life. It led her to become a more responsible person. They don't believe that she would have abandoned her son. Her mother did file for custody of Jael's son shortly after her disappearance. She is now raising him. Authorities are investigating Jael's case as a possible homicide. It remains unsolved. So yeah, to me, just in my opinion, my unprofessional, once again, please, if you're listening, watching, whatever, please, with this information, all we want you to do is just take it, listen to the information, and form your own opinion about what you think could have happened. And please share to bring more awareness. But yeah, that just between the text messages, she was upset about the one young man that didn't said he rejected her, some sort of rejection. So she was texting these other people late into the night, early in the morning. Apparently left the house either walking or, in my opinion, probably somebody picked her up just due to the circumstances. And then her purse being found on a hiking trail. They said she, once again, I don't know how far this hiking trail was from where she lived. They said she did not like to hike. So that just, in my opinion, leads me to think that, something unfortunately may have happened to her. But best case scenario, she just wanted to get away from her life for whatever reason, leave her son behind. Although, her family says that she wouldn't have abandoned her son, that she was, after he was born, she was working on herself. What did it say? Her son gave her a purpose in life. She was becoming a more responsible person. So anyway, if you have but please let me know in comment or in a chat if you're here, if you're watching replay, what your thoughts are on this case. But once again, you can call the Anchorage PD. I guess different phone numbers every time. Anyway, this one is 907-786-2681. Let me see if I was able to find. I was able to find an article if it will load. Once again, that is the question. So I'll look at some more of you guys' comments while we'll see if it's going to load. But that did have a lot more information to it as far as Charlie Project goes. Absolutely, anybody with a wrench can post Miss Avery's channel. Yeah, Miss Avery says she has, talking about Jael, she has one of those familiar faces. Yeah, it just seems like it, especially the younger ones, just, I don't know, maybe just teenage, to me as an old person in my, almost mid-50s, that anybody, 30 years or younger looks like a kid to me now. So it's just that, like everybody looks young to me. It just, Chris agreed. There's Miss Doodle. Uh-oh, are we gonna have to break out? Hold on.
Ma'am, any reason you were pushing 90?
Southern Gal True Crime starts in 5 minutes. She's covering cold cases tonight.
Oh yeah? I love that channel.
Thanks, officer.
Oh dang, that lady was Doodle.
Oh my God, I love that. Sorry, I have to do that whenever Doodle's here, and she did make that video. And she sent me 3 of them, and I hijacked that one. So Miss Doodle has her own video whenever she's here. Good to see you. Please check out Miss Doodle. Once again, my article's not loading. It's okay. You're fine, Miss Doodle. I started a little bit early tonight. I had the house to myself a little bit earlier than I usually do during the week. So we started a little bit early. It's fine. Plus, we're on a different day. I have everything screwed up. It's my fault. Lance says, what about his automobile? Or were you talking about the case before? Are you talking about Damon's case? They found the truck. Now, I don't know if, once again, I couldn't get, and I remember reading, I'm trying to remember the information from Damon's articles. They found the truck, the dog was in it. His cell phone, I think, was in it. It was locked. I think they said it was locked. Once again, now the Trolley Project information won't even load. But now I'm hoping that police at least, took custody of it and processed it for any possible evidence of something, nefarious happened. Did not say. I don't think, if I remember, any of the articles said what happened to the truck after. Hopefully it was oh shoot, my bookmarks are. I was going to try a different browser, but my bookmarks aren't in that browser. Dang it. So I don't know what happened to the truck after. Hopefully it was processed. Or the dog. I'm assuming maybe a friend or a family member took the dog. All right. Thank you, Miss Doodle's getting in links. Yeah, Miss Avery says, going back to Damon's case, most people don't leave their dog for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, Chris says also no one would leave their pets. I agree. That's what, I'm going back to Damon's case. That's why I'm kind of 50-50. As far as what I think or possibly could happen, obviously, I don't know for sure, but either, he left of his own accord for some reason, or it's something nefarious. But he left the dog behind. His family says he absolutely would not leave the dog behind. Chris says 21 years is a red flag. Yep. Oh my goodness, nothing is loading. Hopefully I can get the next Trolley Project to load. This just drives me crazy. And like I said, I have 3 bars tonight on my phone, so my computer should be running fairly decently. I'm lucky usually if I have 2 bars on my phone. Sorry guys, I'm trying to multitask here. I'm just desperately trying to get something to load at this point. Yeah, Miss Avery says, if I'm ever kidnapped, they best bring my dogs. Absolutely. Or in my case, my cats. I don't know if they took Tigger and Biscuit, if they ever kidnapped all 3 of us together, they'd bring us home because the cats would drive them crazy. Oh, Lord. Yeah, Josh says, if I leave my little Inky behind, something's wrong. I didn't leave willingly. Absolutely. There's Miss Barbara. Hello, my dear. Good to see you, lady. Always good to see Miss Barbara. Please check out, I'm sure Doodle or somebody's got the link in, Timmy's Legacy. Chris says, tell Miss Avery if she's ever kidnapped, she'll send the other people who live in Bama. Savory says, have y'all ever not known what you want to drink? So you have 3 different drinks. She has coffee, water, and a Sprite Zero. Well, usually for me, although I should drink more water, it's either water, Coke, most of the time sweet tea. Every once in a while a Sprite if I don't want to load myself up with too much caffeine. Yep. Come on. No, I don't want to put Miss Paula in timeout. Miss Paula said, goodness. There we go. Consider suspicious. Yeah, under absolutely. In my opinion, I always say it all the time. In my opinion, every missing person is considered suspicious until or unless it is somehow discovered that they left of their own accord. But yeah, like I say, in all these cases we covered so far, especially with Damon's, with him, just the truck, they found the truck and the dog, he was gone. And then most definitely in Jael's case, left her baby behind. She was upset. She was text messaging late into the night, early into the morning. She disappeared. In my opinion, somebody came and picked her up, and then they found her purse on the hiking trail. To me, that's got big, ugly red flags. But that's just my opinion. I don't know if this is Miss Bridie or Miss Nicole, but Stolen Spirits MMIWG is in the house. Please do check them out on Facebook and YouTube. Good to have you here. All right. Let me see what case we have next. This should be Samantha Lee Kent. Now I do have I'll read what little information we have, because I don't think I was able to find. I found Samantha's just what the Trolley Project information and her Doe network information. But Samantha has been missing since November 1st, 1993, from Anchorage. She is a white female. She was 24 years old when she went missing. She'll be 56 years old as of 2025. When she went missing, she was 5'3" tall, 105 pounds, with blonde hair and green eyes. She has numerous scars on her lower back, as well as a scar on the inside of her left knee from a bullet fragment. Now that immediately got my attention. Although, once again, I was not able to find any information about how she got this bullet fragment. She has a large flesh-colored mole, half an inch below the hairline, on the left side of her forehead. It says she may use the last name Sin, S-I-N-N. So Samantha was last seen in her hometown of Anchorage. So she was an Alaskan native, I'm assuming. On November 1st, 1993, her landlady actually reported her as a missing person shortly thereafter. Samantha disappeared under suspicious circumstances. She has never been heard from again. She was employed as a dancer at PJ's, which I'm assuming is some kind of bar, which is in Anchorage. In 1993, she resided in an apartment on East 24th Street. So it says that Samantha occasionally did take impromptu trips out of town, but she has never been gone for this long. She had talked about a trip. Now, this is what I find, once again, no judgment. I'm just said that she had talked about taking a trip to Hawaii with what, I don't know if she called it, or that just the way that wherever this information come from put it, with a generous benefactor. But they say this is unlikely that this was the case, because her summer clothing and all her bathing suits, anything that you would need, that a lady would need or want to go to Hawaii, were all left behind. It says that she was close to her aunt and uncle, but they have not heard from her since her disappearance. She left behind all her belongings, including all her clothing, toothbrush, $300 in cash. In addition, her father passed away shortly before her disappearance. And it says that she was expecting around a $5,000 inheritance, which she never collected. I mean, her case remains unsolved. So let me see. I don't know if the Doe, there was one little, I know I saved the Doe Network information because there was some little piece of information that I read. Okay. What was it? Oh, so maybe this inheritance, it says her father's estate was being settled, and this was where this expected inheritance, about $5,000 was supposed to come from. And I don't know what, how wealthy or whatever her family was. They say estate, but that's irrelevant. It could be, some people's idea of an estate might be different from other people's estate definition of estate. So once again, she did keep in close contact with an aunt and uncle. This in the trolley, or the Doe Network says friends told police that Samantha talked about this trip to Hawaii with a quote unquote generous benefactor. Once again, they say that's unlikely because she didn't take anything, summer clothing, bathing suits, anything that you would need or want in Hawaii. Foul play is suspected, according to Doe Network. So I don't know. Once again, absolutely not judging, but they said she was a dancer. That in itself is an inherently dangerous job. You come into contact with all sorts of people. You just open yourself up to, but if you could be a bartender or a waitress in any kind of public job, whether it be food service, retail, anywhere that you work with the public, you're opening yourself up to, people that you may not want to or may necessarily come in contact with if you had like a more private job, like a desk job or something like that. So you have to be really, and no matter, like I said, no matter what you do, if you're working with the public to any degree, you just have to be very, and I worked in a food service for 10 years and I worked in retail for 15 years. So I worked with the public a lot. You just had to be very, very careful divulging any kind of personal information to people that you do not know or do not know very well. That is my public service announcement for the night. Anyway, I don't know if I can't remember if I gave you the number to call. Probably the same, Anchorage PD. Although one of these, I believe the Alaska State Police was handling. Let me make sure it wasn't Samantha's case. No, it is. For Samantha's case, if you have any information, you can call the Alaska State Troopers at 907-269-5018. All right, let me get the next one loading while I check comments. Good to see everybody here tonight. We still have a full house. We got 20 people here, plus whoever may be lurking and not in chat, because I think it just shows me the number of people in chat. But anyway, it might be viewers. I don't know. Anyway, oh, it's Miss Brady. Thank you, Miss Brady, for being here. Let's see here. I don't think Lance has a channel. He may have, but I don't think he does. As Avery, we're talking about Halloween, says I might pretend to be a kid and go trick-or-treating for myself. I'm telling you. We am like I was saying earlier, we would go to town to excuse me, my youngest baby brother and sister-in-law's house in town and get all these kids, and a lot of them would be teenagers. And it just used to get me because, just for an aside, and then we'll get back to business, but there would be adults, and we would give the teenagers candy, but I would hear so many, quote unquote adults say, if a teenager comes to my house, I'm not giving them candy, they're too old for that. Well, look, our opinion was always, if they're teenagers and they're going around, just going around the houses asking for candy, they could be doing a lot worse. Because I know what I did as a teenager on Halloween, as far as, this was back in the 80s, shaving cream, toilet paper, throwing eggs, things of that nature. If the worst they're doing, if the worst that teenagers are doing, if the worst thing they're doing on Halloween is going house to house and getting some candy, I'll give them some candy, because at least they're not out wreaking havoc and getting into trouble, doing something dangerous, So we always had plenty of candy, because we would all pitch in and buy a ton of candy. So we would give the teenagers candy. Anyway, we never complained, because they were always very, now if they came up and had an attitude or being, smart, smart butts, we'd be like, hey, calm it down a little bit. We still give them some candy, but most of them would, come up and just like a kid, trick or treat, we give them candy, they say thank you, and be on their way. So anyway, Junior says we give out candy for Halloween, but it ends by 8 p.m. Yep. Yep, definitely consider suspicious, in my opinion. Thank you very much. Miss Doodle got lots of reunification Facebook group in there. There's JP. Hey, friend, how are you doing? Please do check out JP on YouTube, on Facebook, on Spotify for his music. It's good to see you. Oh, goodness. No, I don't want to put you in timeout. All right, I'm going to, since my article did load, mark right there. So next, we have, this is Wallace Wilkinson Dunn. Excuse me. He's been missing since July 12th, 2013 from Anchorage. He's a white male. He was 81 years old when he went missing. He will be 93 years old as of 2025. When he went missing, he was 5'7" tall, 165 pounds, with white hair and blue eyes. Some agencies give his middle name as Wilkerson. His nickname is Wally. Excuse me. He has large freckles on his face. He walks with a shuffling gait and slow steps. It says he may have sores on the crown of his head from accidental injuries, and he had a gray mustache and beard at the time of his disappearance. Unknown what he was actually wearing when he disappeared, but it said he usually wears t-shirts with graphic designs on them, jeans made of soft fabric, a hat, and that's why I included the picture from the Charlie Project with the hat, and either sneakers or black boots. So he was displaying, or in the early signs of Alzheimer's at the time of his disappearance. He was displaying symptoms including minor memory problems, problems with driving directions. So he was last seen in Anchorage at around 11 a.m. on July 12th. He may have been en route to his cabin in the Big Lake area at the time. Once again, I don't know how far apart from his residence the cabin was. He had told his family that he'd planned to spend the weekend there. He has never been heard from again. 4 days later, after he was last seen, his gray Ford F-150 pickup truck was found locked and abandoned at the end of West Susitna Parkway. It was past a stretch of railroad construction, and they said this was several miles from the cabin. So maybe somewhere in between his residence and the cabin. So witnesses reported having seen the truck parked at that location as early as around 2 p.m. on July 12th, which was 3 hours after the last contact with him. His shotgun was found inside the truck, as well as a container of spoiled food, and his chainsaw and generator were in the open truck bed. So an extensive search of the area turned up no sign of Mr. Dunn, but a man matching his description was seen near the Montana Creek campground on July 13th. The men said that he wanted to either walk or hitchhike to Denali National Park. So Mr. Dunn is a retired doctor who practiced in the Anchorage area from the 1950s to the 1990s. After retirement, he spent winters in Texas and summers in Alaska. He saw his daughter several times a week. She stated his disappearance is completely uncharacteristic of his behavior. His case does remain unsolved, and I don't think it said anything about if he had a spouse living with him or if she had passed. But if you have any information, you can call the Anchorage Police Department at 907-786-8900. And I found several short articles, once again, with just bits and pieces of different info, along with the general info that were in all of them. But once again, I don't know if I'll be able to get any of them to load. But I was wondering, and I can't remember if one of these articles said or not, is why I bookmarked them. But I was wondering if because they found his vehicle, I think locked or maybe unlocked. Now I've already forgotten. But they didn't say whether. But he was a man matching his description was wanting to was seen there and talked to people that said he either wanted to walk or hitchhike to Denali National Park. And I don't know, was that because his truck broke down? Did it run out of gas? Was it in working order? It just confuses me as to why. But once again, that could have something to do with the dementia, Alzheimer's symptoms. But that just really confused me about the truck. Once again, I close it out and start a new tab, see if that works. Sometimes it does. Tonight, nothing is. All right, let me get into some comments while I'm seeing if anything will load. Thank you, Gibbo. Miss PJ said, oh, you're talking about hours on StreamYard? She says I use more than that in a week. Yeah. Yes, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Josh says, sweet tea. Are you keeping that story? Yes, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. No Long Island iced tea. Oh man, we'll have to go into that Friday night on our because Friday night Halloween will be just a casual. I did put together a slideshow, a list of some quote unquote haunted true crime locations that we can talk about, discuss, have a little bit of fun Friday night. But I had a really bad experience with some Long Island iced tea when I was a young adult. And I don't think I've drank a Long Island iced tea since then. Like I said, that's a story for a different night. Oh my goodness, nothing as far as articles are loading. Like I said, I don't know. I just had 3 or 4 bookmarked that, like I said, they had each article had just a little piece of information that wasn't in other articles that kind of may have said something about the truck, or maybe a little bit more information about who last saw him, that said that he wanted to either walk or hitchhike. But once again, nothing's loading. Anyway, but all the links to all the articles that I use and read from, along with just a general link to the Trolley Project, is in the description box. So I encourage any of you, if you wish, to go to the description box, click on the links if you want to read these articles. Maybe you can get them to load on your phone or your laptop or whatever you happen to be on, to get that little extra bits of information, since I'm unfortunately apparently not able to bring them to you tonight. Okay, well, we'll just try another one. I'm just going through them to see if anything will load at this point. Get caught up. Julie says there's a terrible respiratory thing going around. I think I have it too. Feel better. I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody else. Yeah. Whenever the weather starts changing here in Arkansas, of course we go from like straight to hot to cold, burning up hot to semi cold. What we consider cold here in Arkansas in the South, or freezing cold. We have had some cold. We get our cold spells in the wintertime, but whenever the weather starts changing, which it's finally kind of starting to change here, I always get this sinus thing, and sometimes it'll get down in my chest, and I'll have to go to the doctor and get a steroid shot to dry everything up. But anyway, and then a lot of it is allergies. I think they're about finished cutting the crops, thank goodness, but they've been burning off the field, so that always irritates everything also. So that's why I always sound so nasally and crackly voice. Oh God, I think I'm just going to give up on these articles. I don't think, trying to remember what other little bit, if they did do, from what I can remember from these articles, because I'm just looking at the titles of the articles on the bookmark on my browser. They did do a pretty extensive search for, I forgot his name now. For for Wallace, because it said they used helicopters, or maybe not drones, helicopters, dogs, volunteer and law enforcement search parties. I think around they started in the general area of the cabin, or maybe somewhere between his residence and the cabin where he was last seen. They did extensive searches of that area. They did do, after they found, or apparently talked to the people that had seen this person matching his description at wherever they said it was now, saying he either wanted to walk or hitchhike to Denali National Park. They did then at some point, I can't remember what the time difference was. Some point after that, they did go and do a search of Denali National Park. Now, I'm assuming that's a really, really big national park. I don't think anything, obviously nothing that I could find was ever found. But they did do extensive searches still, in both locations. Several locations did not find any sign of him, except for, once again, the truck that was abandoned. It said several miles from his cabin. So at least searches were done, but it's just, nothing was ever found. No evidence of his, no belongings of his, himself. So once again, another word, seemingly just vanishing in thin air. All right, let me go back to Trolley Project is the only thing that's loading tonight. Anyway, thank you very much, Mustang. Yeah, Miss Avery says, once again, going back to which case was that? Damon's case. Miss Avery says, that's weird. Left the phone and the dog. Not good. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Chris says, you don't leave your kids, your dog alone, and your car. Absolutely. Yeah. And tonight we've had all three children, or at least one child, an infant child. Now, some of these others, I'm assuming Mr. Wallace, I don't know, I'm just assuming, may have had children, family members he left behind, maybe children. All these, mostly, or in two of these cases, vehicles were left behind. Damon's case and Wallace's case here, and they're gone. It's just, and then the dog was left behind in Damon's case. It's like, where do we don't know, we know they don't just up and disappear, but it makes you wonder what happens. Okay, just getting caught up. Absolutely, in my opinion. Hey, Boston Christian, good to see you. You snuck in on me, or you probably been here, and I'm way behind in comments. Well, I'm about 30, 45 minutes behind in comments. Thank you, Sunday Doodles. I don't know if you're talking about me. Says I really enjoy the pre-recorded videos too. Thank you so much. Yep, I think I've got everything scheduled for this coming week, for the rest of the week through Saturday, I believe. I should have 2 or 3 more videos, or 2 or 3 other videos I'll upload this week. I tried to do it on a semi, like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, kind of a semi-regular schedule. It just depends on when I do my live streams. Of course, obviously, we usually do the Monday live stream. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. Matt says, someday I want to start recording streams. I have so many of these older cases. It would be cool to get the word out. Absolutely. I think you would be fantastic at it. You're fantastic. You and Miss Rose and the whole crew at getting those getting the flyers made for the Facebook page. I would absolutely love to see you doing live streams. JP says he got lost in all the words. I do the same thing. Lordy mercy. It's getting through comments. That's me. Junior said it takes me so long to type that 10 comments go by and I don't know who's in here. Yeah, I feel that way too. Yeah, that happens. Mustang says someone I went to school with drank while pregnant. The baby had health problems. Absolutely. Yeah, because that was the case in which was Jael's case. Was that Jael's case that she had the fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, which I'd always heard it called fetal alcohol syndrome. Once again, those could be 2 different things. But yeah, unfortunately, that happens. Hey, Jody, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Sorry if I'm late welcoming you guys in, but I'm so behind here. Yes, absolutely. Thank you to Doodlebug and everybody who's putting the links in. Very much appreciate everybody who has wrenches that help me out. I haven't thrown any around lately, JP. I'm gonna have to start throwing some out. Like JP needs one. If Josh is gonna come in here under his Josh the Posh, or come in under Where Lavender Grows under his channel name or his channel profile, I got to give that one a wrench. And lots of other people. I'll be like Dave, out on the prowl, throwing wrenches around. Everybody duck. We're throwing wrenches around. Oh, Miss Brady said, be right back. She's switching names. Y'all don't confuse me. People coming in here under different names. Thank you. Another thumbs up. Hey, we can use all we can get. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button. It does help the algorithm. So I've heard. And sharing, commenting, all those good things to help this information get out to as many people as possible. Yeah, Miss Avery said this does not sound good at all for Jael. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, I agree. We don't, we always hope for the best, obviously, but we all know in a lot of these cases, just with the little bit of information that we're given, some of the situations, circumstances that things might not turn out the way we want and hope that they are. But we just hope for the best. And then if we come to find out something nefarious did happen in any of these cases that we cover, hopefully, even though they're cold cases, they're still being investigated or looked at by somebody, and hopefully at some point these families can get some closure, or at least find out what happened. There are different forms of closure. When I say closure, it's kind of a blanket term, but as far as actually finding, if the case is finding remains, and if it is deemed to be as what am I looking for? I lost my train of thought. If it is deemed to be like a homicide or something nefarious happened, then hopefully it's investigated and perpetrators are found, brought to justice, things of that nature. Oh, I did not know that. So Miss Avery says, and life expectancy for people with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder is only 34 years old. Wow, let me go back to, was it Jael's case? Sorry, I'm getting my cases all, because that was in the Charlie Project information. She was what, in her 20s? Yeah, dude. Sunday Doodle says that's so sad. Young life was tough before this happened to her. Absolutely, yeah. Because she was in. Was she the one that was in foster care? I'm trying not to get my cases confused. Once again, it's. I was trying to go back to Jael's Charlie Project information, but I think she was she in foster care. Yep. Bridie says poor girl had been through a lot. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, Junior says it gets cold in Michigan. I can't imagine what it's like in Alaska. I can't either. And a lot of people, because there's all these Alaska shows, on like Discovery Channel, or whatever channel all these are on. Oh my gosh, now I can't even reach the Charlie. Oh, there it goes. That people move to Alaska to live off the grid. I mean, I'm all for living off the grid. I mean, sometimes I'm just want to disconnect from everything and go out in the woods here on the farm and just set up a tent and camp, and but I don't know. Yeah, and I'm a Southern girl, so I don't like cold weather. So I can imagine. I'm like Junior. I can't imagine just the cold of Alaska. Okay, so I found Jael's. Yes, Jael was the one with the fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. Yeah, she was right. She spent the first 14 months of life in foster care before she was adopted. She was raised in Wasilla, Alaska. She also spent time in Washington with her father after her parents divorced. So yeah, she had a very, very, unfortunately, very rough time. Very rough time. Right, I got to get the other one loaded back up. Yeah, Miss Avery says, honestly, it doesn't sound like she's around anymore, but I hope she is. Absolutely, yeah. She's Barbara says she loves Michigan in the summertime. It's beautiful, but I hate the cold. It's depressing. Yeah, it's depressing and it's just cold. I said, I'm a Southern girl. I don't like the cold weather. And I'm an old Southern girl now, so my bones don't like the cold. Hey, Miss Peggy. She says she's here listening, cooking dinner. Good to see you, Miss Peggy. All right, I'm going to, since my next page did load on the Trolley Project, take time out from comments, and we will do the next case right quick. This should be, no, was I on the wrong one? Did I even advance to Samantha's slide a while ago? Oh gosh, I hope so. I did read Samantha's information, correct? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember reading her information. Anyway, okay, so no, that's Wallace. We did him. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is Sheila McBroom. So Sheila has been missing since October 27th, 2008 from Anchorage. She's a white female. She was 40 years old when she went missing. She would be 57 years old as of 2025. When she went missing, she was 5'5" tall, 200 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. Says she goes by her middle name, Kathleen. Her nickname is Kathy. Her ears are pierced, and just last known to be wearing a white hooded jacket. So Kathy was last seen in Anchorage on October 27th, 2008. So this is another one that just into thin air, seemingly. She left home that morning, although there are some weird, and I do have an article. It probably won't load, but I kind of remember a little bit of the information that was in those articles, or that article that's not in Charlie Project. So she left home that morning, supposedly to drive to work. At around 8:30 a.m., an Alaska state trooper stopped Kathy on the Seward Highway, 6 miles south of Girdwood, which is not on her route to work. And I believe, because it did say in the article, I believe actually it was in the opposite direction of which way she should have been traveling if she was on her way to work. So they thought she may have been intoxicated, but she passed a sobriety test. She told the state trooper that she was just tired. He suggested that she take a nap, I guess just in the car there, before moving on, before driving any further. So he or she left. She has never been seen or heard from again. But so on October 31st, which was 3 days later, her truck with all of her belongings inside was found at mile 106 on the Seward Highway. It says at the place where the trooper had spoken to her. And I don't know if it was the exact place or maybe a little bit up the road, but I'm assuming in the same general vicinity as where she was stopped is where her truck was found, all her belongings inside. There were no indications of foul play. Again, I'm assuming they said that because there's no signs of a struggle in or around the truck, I'm assuming. They said the truck was in operable condition, so there would have been no reason, it wasn't broke down, wouldn't start, wasn't out of gas. So they just found the truck with her belongings inside, but no Kathy. A few days before she went missing, her teenage daughter had come home for a visit after spending more than a year at a school that was at a school that was out of state. Kathy was very excited about this. I said she was delighted with the reunion with her daughter and her loved ones. Do not believe that she would have just left on her own all of a sudden, being as her daughter just came home for a visit or came home from school. Everything seemed happy. Of course, we all know things behind closed doors can be different from what people project, in a public or to friends. So there could have been things going on that she didn't talk about publicly. But as far as anybody knew, everything was good. Everybody was happy. There would have been no reason she would have wanted to leave. She did work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers at Elmendorf Air Force Base at the time of her disappearance. She did attend a local Mormon church. She was active online. She had a blog, which she wrote in regularly. She is missing under what they call unclear circumstances. Her family believes that she may be in danger, and her case remains unsolved. So if you have any information, you can call the Anchorage PD. Once again, I think this is yet another different number at 907-786-8817. And I really wish this article would load in particular for her, because it had a little bit more information about supposedly, and that's why I want the article to load, because I don't want to be giving out misinformation or incorrect information. But somebody had said that she had been, one of her co-workers at the Corps of Engineers that she was friends with, I think had been, how do they put it? promoted to a higher position. Basically, he or she would be Kathy's boss. And apparently after that happened, there was some stress and strain in that relationship after that happened. So I don't know if that has anything to do with her disappearance or not. But I just found that interesting. I'm trying to think of anything else that was in that article. I think because I had two articles that once again had just bits of different information. And one of the articles says something about in her blog when her daughter came home from school that she was just maybe kind of surprised about how smooth things were going, how good they were getting along well, everything was going okay, and that she says made a statement something to the fact of she goes, it's strange. It was just kind of what might lead me to think, in my opinion, maybe that things weren't, there could have, and things happen in all families. All families have problems at one time or another of some sort. But just the fact that she worded it that it was, I'm here, I'm happy, we're all around the table fixing to eat. It's strange. Is how she put it. So that's just, anyway. Once again, once again, you can, for anybody who's interested, you can go to the description section for the live stream. All the links to all these articles that I can't get to load are there. But let me check your comments again. I think we have maybe one more. Oh my goodness. Well, that one came up. I don't know if this is the one. Okay, so this article that actually came up is from foxnews.com. Let me mark the comments right there. Okay, so it is from November 2008. Authorities continue search for Alaska woman missing since Halloween. Along the Seward Highway between the towering cliffs of exposed rock and the fast icing waters of Turnagain Arm, an abandoned pickup found last month looked to be a promising lead in the search for a woman who vanished on her way to work. But inside the green 1996 GMC, found some 6 miles below McHugh Creek on October 31st, which was 3 days after she was stopped by the Alaska State Troopers. The belongings of Sheila Kathleen McBroom remain untouched. There were no signs of foul play, nothing wrong with the car, suggesting mechanical malfunction, no self-harm note. In the days since the discovery, not a single person has reported seeing Kathy. She was a wife and a mother who went by Kathleen, was supposedly heading for work. It was a Monday morning she vanished. Nobody is quite sure why she was on the highway. A lady named Sue, who is a friend of Kathy's, who knew her online, said, quote, "My very first thought was that she needed some time away, that maybe she was just going to cool off somewhere, but I've got this gut feeling that something bad has happened," end quote. She goes on to say, the more we find out, the more concerned I am, because it is not like her to be gone that long. So on the days before she disappeared, one of Kathy's teenage daughters returned after spending more than a year out of state. Kathy appeared to be thrilled about the reunion in a personal blog entry dated October 26th, which would have been the day before she went missing, or she was last seen, because I believe it was the 27th. So she wrote on the blog, quote, "It was sweet to hug my girl again. Really nice to have everybody at home right now. It was so strange," and in quotations she put good, "to have all of us around the dinner table last night. Maybe it was strange in the fact that all of them were together, being that the daughter had been gone to school in a different state." So she says the small and simple things matter more, end quote. But it says that Kathy was also stressing about her job with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers at Elmendorf Air Force Base. This is according to Bishop Lance Nelson, who supervises Kathy's ward at the Church of Christ, Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I can't talk once again. So apparently Kathy had gotten renewed interest in the church in recent years. She had taught primary school there. This is according to the Bishop Nelson. He called her a loving mother and said her abrupt disappearance has shocked those who knew her, especially her family. Bishop Nelson says, I think they have found it really difficult. They're going through different stages, I think, of grief and concern. The worst thing is uncertainty, just not knowing, absolutely. He says, I think that has been pretty hard on them. So the last morning that anyone saw Kathy, this is another interesting thing that I found interesting that kind of raises the red flags or makes you wonder why, is that she had shoes for walking rather than working. So she was wearing like walking shoes. I don't know what kind of shoes she normally wore to work, but apparently she had shoes for walking rather than working on the morning that she disappeared, that she was last seen. So once again, then at about 8:30 a.m. on October 31st, no, that's when the truck was found. Well, this article says October 31st, an Alaska State Trooper responding to a report of a possible drunk driver whose pickup truck was swerving erratically. So that's another little bit of information. On the Seward Highway, talked to Kathy while she was stopped in a pullout. Trooper spokeswoman Megan Peters, this according to Trooper spokeswoman Megan Peters. So after doing the sobriety test and running her on a database, the trooper left her with a suggestion that she take a nap. So once again, she passed the sobriety test. They always, what we call it running their information in the system. Apparently she didn't have any warrants or anything of concern that came up when they ran her name. So they just suggested she take a nap before driving any further. Spokeswoman Peters said, quote, she pulled over because she was tired. There's no signs of any kind of intoxication. Nothing was in the system to make us want to hold on to her longer. There was no reason for us to keep her. So even though, once again, they had concerns that maybe she was, tired. I don't know if they had any concerns that she might have been having any kind of mental health crisis. But they had no legal reason that they could keep her there. So they obviously couldn't. So it wasn't until that evening when Kathy did not return from work that her family began calling her cell phone. She was reported missing the next day. After her truck was discovered, more than 20 searchers, police officers, troopers, and railroad personnel mounted an expansive search that lasted until dark, according to Lieutenant Dave Parker. A trooper helicopter peered down between the trees on the cliff tops and scoured the coastline for any sign of Kathleen. The Alaska Railroad brought a truck equipped to ride on tracks so searchers could cover more ground, so they could look into crevices in the shoreline of the rocks to make sure that she had either maybe fallen or possibly jumped. I'm not assuming that, or I'm assuming, it could be either one, just in case any of those things happened. They didn't find anything. At the end of the day, the only clues they had were where they started with the truck and the belongings inside, which included her cell phone. So whatever happened, she didn't take her cell phone. That's always odd to me because, I don't live on my cell phone. I'd research, look at cases and browse on my phone, But to me, going in, especially if you're broke down or just going anywhere without my cell phone, just to have a way to call for if I had an emergency or for people to get a hold of me. I'm always going to have my cell phone with me, no matter if my vehicle breaks down and for some reason I have to walk. Although with cell phones, that's usually, unless you just don't have anybody that can come pick you up, you can call somebody on the phone and say, hey, come pick me up or come look at the car or whatever. But I'm always going to take my phone with me. But in so many of these cases, my point is, so many of these cases is they find the vehicle, the cell phone's in there, but no person. The person is missing, but the cell phone is left. So anyway, So police are now left to wonder if Kathleen's pickup was moved. I'm assuming, just inferring, maybe not by her, was moved after the trooper talked to her, a possible sign of foul play, or if she simply ditched it and hitched a ride. Or, given the proximity of the embankment, did she jump or fall into the water below? They said it was surging with 30-foot tides that day. So if she did fall in, it would be something very hard to survive. So Parker, I believe, who is the spokesperson, or maybe one of the law enforcement, says, quote, if she had ended up in the water, she would be gone. There's just no way around it. She would have been swept away. But if she had hitchhiked or gone someplace or gotten picked up, it's a busy highway. He says that's always the potential. But as I understand it, we have not gotten any leads from people who have seen her. So I took that to mean they had nobody that said, hey, there was a woman walking down the freeway or the highway that day. I saw this person. I picked this person up. I stopped to ask if they needed any help, anything of that nature. So the pickup truck was brought back to Anchorage to be examined for evidence. Thank God. As whenever this was as far as when this article was written, but there are no immediate plans to continue an active search for Kathleen. Police instead are hoping she will either turn up or they will get a tip that points them in the right direction. Kathleen's church did put flyers out. They sent members to the area where the truck was found. They offered to send volunteers to help police with any search efforts that became necessary. Police, however, have not offered any concrete ways that the church members could help, but just, handing out flyers and doing any kind of searches, I guess, just in the general area is always helpful. So Lena, who is an online friend of Kathleen's who lived near Dallas, says, quote, I'm assuming right now that she is not alive, just because if she was out there somewhere lost, then there's no way at this point because there haven't been people looking for her. She says, I can't imagine her doing any harm to herself, and I just wish that more attention had been given in the beginning. So apparently, maybe a lot of times we know, sometimes even in teenager, runaway, and then in adults, it's always they're an adult, they can go missing or whatever if they want to. And yes, it is true. Anybody that's of age has the right to do what they want. But if you have people saying this is not normal, we should be doing something, just listen to them. And I'm not saying that all law enforcement doesn't listen, but sometimes that is the case. So once again, Kathleen, when she disappeared, 5'3" tall, around 200 pounds, of brown hair and blue eyes, just known to be wearing a white hooded jacket. So I'm glad I got at least one article, maybe the second article tonight that actually loaded. Because that has some useful information, little tidbits of information. Oh, so now the article is loading. The other one loaded. I don't think it had. Let me just skim through it to make sure it didn't have any little bit of information that other article didn't have. Excuse me. She's last seen 6 miles of Girdwood. So in this article, it says that she told troopers that she was too tired to drive and had pulled over to take a nap. So in the other article, it said that they suggested that she take a nap after she passed all the sobriety tests. So, so apparently, according to this article, maybe that's why I say this one, it says when troopers returned later for a welfare check, I'm assuming to the truck where they pulled her over, that's when they found the pickup truck was still there and her possessions were inside, but she was nowhere to be found. So maybe they, according to this article, they did come back to do a welfare check, a follow-up check, which is not unusual for highway patrol, if they're patrolling whatever portion of the state or whatever, their little piece of a highway that they're in charge of patrolling. if they've stopped somebody before, they may, if they're going back and forth, if they have the time, they will come back and check just to make sure things are kosher, things are okay. Okay, so that article didn't have anything other than that about the welfare check. Okay. I think we might have, I don't know if she was the last one or if we have one more. Nope, I think Kathleen was the last one. Yep, okay. All right, so I will get caught up in your comments and we will get out of here. But thanks to everybody who is hanging in with me tonight, even with all the usual problems that are yes, you're exactly right. JP says depression is real either way. You're absolutely right. It may take me a minute to get caught up in comments. Oh, did Doodle make you a video too? Yeah, she did 3 of those videos for me. I love them so much. I got to get the other 2 uploaded to StreamYard so I can alternate between the 3 for Doodle. Doodle says she has way too much time on her hands. Don't we all? Yeah, I was wondering, I was going to ask Doodle what she used to make those, and I think I told her that she needed to we need a Mr. Steve one for Mr. Steve. We have a Mr. Steve sighting, which she did make. Let me see if I can find it. She did make a picture. Where's it at? Where's the Mr. Steve signal? There it is. There's the Mr. Steve signal. I think, yeah, we got the Mr. Steve signal. And to summon Mr. Steve, either the signal works or somebody said saying his name 3 times, kind of like Beetlejuice summons Mr. Steve. He'll appear. Oh goodness, now I lost my place in the comments. Oh geez. Okay, there's where I was at. Yeah, I was gonna ask Miss Doodle what she used to make those. Yes, I think Miss Doodle lost. I think we all lost it a long time ago. Let's see. No, don't want to do that. Now my computer's doing even weirder things. Let's see. Yeah, Miss Avery says I just can't imagine having a family member or child missing and just not knowing. I know. And unfortunately, Miss Barb knows that feeling. I mean, they did eventually find Timmy, not in the way that that obviously they wanted him to be found, but that's why when I say, wanting families to have closure is kind of a blanket statement because there are different types of quote unquote closure. I mean, as far as, if I don't want to say if you're lucky, because I've never been in that situation. I don't want to, because nobody knows how they would feel or react if, thank God I have never personally had a friend or a family member go missing under, weird or nefarious circumstances. So I don't know exactly. I can tell myself this is how I would feel. This is what I would do. This is what I would say. This is how I would act. But you don't know for sure, obviously. So I don't want to speak for anybody when I talk about closure. But just in terms of closure, as in finding remains, finding best case scenario, finding the person alive and well, or at least alive. And then there's closure, as in if it's considered a homicide, a crime, the perpetrator is found, brought to justice, that kind of closure. So there's different forms of closure. But then then you can also, I'm going to try not to get too deep into the weeds. but it really is finding remains, somebody, if it was a crime, somebody being the perpetrator being found, brought to justice. Is that really closure? I mean, like, once again, I can't say because I've never been in that situation myself. So, I mean, is that really closure? I've heard a lot of, because I watch a lot of like 48 Hours, Dateline mysteries, TV, TV episodes, and, family members say it's not really closure. It's just, you know, so I don't know. Like I said, I can't speak to it personally because thank goodness, thank God, I've never been in that position. I hope I never am. I'd hate it for anybody who has ever been in that position. It's just, I can't imagine. It's just horrible. Anyway, as Paula says, is it possible she walked away? Are you talking about Kathleen? It totally possible. That's, you know, I just find it odd. I mean, you would think that she would have to have walked away unless, because, well, I'll put it this way. You would have, in my opinion, if she would have been, although they said her truck was in working condition, no reason why she should have technically left it behind and started walking. Maybe she did start walking. And since they found, they did all these extensive searches. Now, granted, if she did fall or jump into the river, would have been a little bit hard. That could have been why they didn't find her on any of the extensive searches they did. But you would also think that, or in my opinion, I would also think that if she had been walking down the highway, and I have no idea how busy this highway is, I would think that if she would have been walking down the highway, somebody would have at least come forward. You would hope that somebody would have come forward and said, I was driving along this part of the highway that day. I saw the truck sitting there. Nobody was in it. Or I saw a lady walking down the road, but I didn't stop to ask if she needed any help. Or I saw a lady walking down the road. I did ask if she needed help. She said she was fine. Whatever the case may be, you would think that somebody would have come forward. So I don't know. Or was it that she was still in the truck? Somebody, after the police had been there the first time, the state troopers had left. Did another passerby, somebody driving on the road, pull up behind her, ask her if she needed help, and she did get in the vehicle with somebody, and that's why nobody reported seeing her walking up and down the road? I mean, I'm just trying to go through I'm sure there are other possibilities I'm not thinking of, but those are just the ones that come to my mind about as far as, why nobody reported seeing. And it could be that just nobody, a lot of times people will see people walking down the road or the highway, and, granted, you're going to forget, especially if it's weeks, months, years later. Hey, we need anybody to come forward. If on this certain day of this year at this time on this part of the highway, did you happen to see somebody walking? You're not going to automatically remember. I mean, I probably wouldn't. Now, some people may, but I don't know. I just find it strange that nobody reported picking her up, seeing her walking. So I don't know. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in chat, though, or in comments if you're watching a replay. Thank you, Junior. He's probably long gone. I don't know how far behind I'm in comments. About an hour. Junior said, guys and gals, I'm going to get ready for bed. God bless everyone. Always good to have Junior here. We love Junior. Yes, Miss Barb says it's enough to drive a person insane. I'm so grateful Timmy was found in 5 months. Yeah, I can't imagine. I say 5 minutes, 5 hours. I mean, I would start panicking 5 hours if I start panicking if I hadn't heard from, certain members. Now, different family members, for instance, being so close to my mom, if I went 5 hours, unless I just knew exactly what she was and what she was doing, I'd be worried if I texted her or called her and she didn't call back in 5 hours, unless I knew she was okay. She can't get to her phone. She's doing this, whatever. But yeah, 5 days, I can't even imagine 5 months. And then you have certain members of family. It may be normal that you don't, if they live, because I have family that lives out of state, I could go 5 days without hearing, texting, or calling, and it wouldn't be unusual. So it's different, it's 2 degrees. Once again, everything is relevant. Thank you, Miss Doodle. If I can get it to come up, there it is. There's a link to Timmy's legacy. Oh, goodness. I really need to clean my phone screen. I think that's why my touch screen's not working. Thank you, Josh. He's probably already gone, but he headed out. Early morning appointment. Thank you for raising awareness. Good night. Thank you, Josh. Please do, everyone, check out Josh's channel, Where Lavender Grows. Once again, I really enjoyed being on his live stream with him Sunday night. Just getting caught up, and we will get out of here. I just don't want to miss anybody. You guys always have, I love to go through your comments because you guys are so smart, have such good, bring up questions or things about cases that, like I said, that I might not have thought about. That's why it's good to have lots of eyes and ears, because everybody sees or hears something different, or picks up on different things that somebody else may have missed or interpreted differently. Oh yeah, I can relate to that. Miss Paula said her spotty Wi-Fi was acting up. Absolutely. Chris says prayers for the family of Samantha Kent. Absolutely. Prayers for all these families. Absolutely. Okay, Doodle. I got to remember which case this was. It says it's odd to me they put what the scar was from. That stands out to me. Oh, is it the one? Was it Samantha that had the a scar from a bullet fragment? Let's see if I can get her thing to come back up. Once again, I don't want to speak about the wrong case and give out wrong information. I think that was Samantha. Maybe I can get at least Charlie Project to come up. Yes, Samantha, and if I try to go back through my slideshow, I'd probably get the wrong slide. But Samantha was the blonde-haired young lady, 24 years old. But yeah, she has numerous scars. One of them was a scar on the inside of her left knee from a bullet fragment. So that caught my attention, absolutely. What was it, just a freak accident? I mean, or was it during some kind of something nefarious that went on? I don't know. That got my attention also. But yeah, Doodle said that stood out to her too. And also to Miss Avery. So Miss Paul says, what kind of dancer? I don't want to assume, once again, I'm definitely not judging. But I almost said PJ. Sorry, Miss PJ is not a dancer that I know of. Samantha was employed as a dancer at PJ's, which I'm assuming is some kind of bar in Anchorage in 1993. I'm going to assume, once again, I'm just assuming, once again, absolutely no judgment. I'm going to assume an exotic dancer, I'm just going to put it that way. Maybe an exotic dancer, which is why I commented earlier when I was going over Samantha's information. If she was an exotic dancer, once again, I'm not saying this in judgment, but just to point out the fact that we do know, just from other cases that we've looked at, that type of work would put you maybe in touch with a certain kind of, or people that you would not necessarily want to be in touch with willingly. It could have led to some kind of stalker situation. I mean, something, somebody that noticed you and that, I don't know how to put it without, once again, absolutely 100% not judging, but I'm just trying to make the point that kind of work would put you, maybe not necessarily in willing contact, but people would see you, or that might, you might not necessarily want to associate with. So that could be the case. I don't know. Yeah, right underneath it, Miss Avery said it. Yeah, exotic dancer. I'm assuming. Yeah, Chris thought I'm okay. Thank you. Yeah, that absolutely. That's why I'm just straight dangerous job. And like I said, I think I'd made the point earlier too. Any kind of job that you have that you work, quote unquote, with the public to any degree, you're going to come in contact with people that you might not come in contact with if you had like a more private job, like I said earlier, like a desk job at a company where you're not, you know, it could be, like I said, anything from food service to retail to any job that you work or come in contact with the public on a daily basis is going to be, like I said, I worked at Wally World, Walmart for 15 years. I came into contact with people just that I had to interact with just as an associate that I wouldn't probably just from the few minutes I would interact with them, just from my intuition would probably not want to hang out with in real life, if you know what I mean. So it can be to any degree. So I said you just had to be very careful in just normal public. You could be at the park with your kids or your dogs or your whatever, and somebody can come by and say hi or want to start a conversation with you that you don't know this person, and you just have to be very careful. Don't have to be paranoid. Just be very, very careful. Yeah, Avery says it's definitely a riskier job. Absolutely. Thank you, Miss Julie. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Miss Avery said, did everyone like the video? And she says, wait, did I like the video? Oh, we love Miss Avery. Please check out Miss Avery. I think we're all a little loopy. I know I'm loopy tonight. I don't know what it is. Thank you. Let's see, this was at 9:17, about an hour ago. 27 likes. Everyone hit that like button. Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mustang. Oh my goodness. I have to clean my. Oh my goodness. Nope. I don't want to put Mustang in timeout. There we go. Oh goodness. That's why I like having StreamYard come up on my computer, because it's so much easier to control and go through the comments on the computer than it is on my phone. Going back to, I think I was talking about earlier about the teenager trick-or-treaters. Julia said if they are walking their younger brothers and sisters, I totally give them candy too. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. To me, that's even more. Nothing against teenagers, but we know how teenagers are. And I'm the oldest of 3 kids. I have 2 younger brothers, so I know about younger siblings. A lot of times, especially teenagers, don't want to hang out with their younger brothers and sisters. So absolutely, I applaud any teenager or young adult that would be willing to take their younger siblings trick-or-treating. I would definitely, yeah, I would definitely give them candy also. I know Miss Barb wasn't talking to me, but I did the toilet paper. Yeah, back in the 80s, it was what the 3 were: toilet paper in houses or trees, throwing raw eggs at houses or at each other, and shaving cream in each other, or vehicles, or houses, or trees. Yeah, that was the big 3: toilet paper, shaving cream, and eggs. Us wild kids of the 80s who lived off of hose water and whatever else we could get into. The old-fashioned TV dinners. Oh God, we're gonna have so much fun Friday night, guys. I'm hoping, as far as I know, I'll be able to do the fun live stream on Halloween Friday. So if you're free, if you don't have any other prior commitments to family or children for Halloween, please feel free to come in. I think I've already got it scheduled to start at 8:30, our usual time, Central Time. Please come and join us. We're gonna have some fun, talk about whatever you guys want to, hang out, chill. Like I said, I do have a slideshow and some information about some haunted true crime locations that I've always found interesting. I hope you guys will too. And even if you're not into the spooky stuff, you can still just come in and hang out and chat. You ain't no telling what we'll get into. Look at what we get into on these quote unquote our serious live streams. So imagine what our fun ones are like. JP says old people don't eat candy. Hey, I eat candy. I like chocolate. I'm addicted to chocolate. I have to stay away from it. Are you saying what? Old people don't eat candy? I know I eat candy. I love me some Werther's. I mean, don't get me started on candy. Save it for Friday night. I know we've got to get out of here. I just want to get caught up on all y'all's comments. As Paula says, I'm going to dress up and go out for supper. Also go to lunch at the same place every day. Excellent. Gotta be careful of that. Once again, I'm not trying to freak anybody out, but you gotta be any would-be stalker type people. They look at people if they have a particular person that they're, and I'm not saying anybody is stalking Miss Paula. I hope to God not. But we would be there for you, Miss Paula, if somebody were. They look at routines that whatever person they're interested in, because I don't know if a stalker is one of the words that YouTube doesn't like, but if somebody has a fixation with someone, they look at they get to know their routines, and sometimes that's how bad things happen. As Barbara says, if that's the case, then I'm going trick or treat and I want some candy. I'm with you. Miss Paula says she's going to be buying her own stash of candy. Absolutely. Julie said, we toilet papered a teacher's tree in high school near Halloween, and they left it up until after New Year's. Oh, my goodness. But then, but how are you going to, yeah, because toilet paper in trees was a big thing around here back in my day. I mean, what are you going to do? Climb up the tree and get the toilet paper down? You'd almost kind of have to leave it there to disintegrate. JP says, so I have to give up another addiction just because I'm old now. That's not cool. No, you don't have to give up anything. Matt says he actually got a Halloween costume today. Mustang says we toilet paper at the principal's yard for a senior prank. Julia said 9 p.m. where she is a shutdown time. Do they have curfews on Halloween? I don't know if the town I live in actually has a curfew, but usually, I don't know, when we trick-or-treated, we would wait until it was actually dark before we started going trick-or-treating, and then we might be trick-or-treating until, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. I mean, it depends on if it was a weekday or a weekend, if we had to get up for school or whatever. But I noticed the older I got, and then, when my brother and sister-in-law were doing at their house, the more the years went on, everybody would start coming out earlier and earlier, like before, when it was still daylight. And then by the time dark actually came along, which I can understand absolutely to a degree, it's a different world. And by the time that it actually got dark, all the trick-or-treaters will be done and at the house or in a lot of places, like I said, like churches, and then just in the neighborhood, families will get together and just go trick-or-treating as a group with other families. And then after they would trick-or-treated, they would go on back to one of their houses and have like a after trick-or-treating party or whatever you would call it, with the kids. So things change over the years about how things are done. But I don't know if here, like I said, where I live, if there's an actual curfew legal, as far as police are concerned. But, usually by dark nowadays, everybody's already done. Matt said he got the Black Death Doctor. Oh, that's a cool one. Is that the one with the beak looking thing? I know I didn't describe that very well. The Black Death Doctor. I think I know what you're talking about. Costume. Doodle said he had such a kind face. I'm assuming maybe you're talking about, I don't know which one you're talking about. Maybe Mr. Wallace, the older gentleman. Yeah, it tears and breaks my heart to see these pictures. JP says, time me out. I feel undisciplined. Hey, we're all undisciplined to a degree. Yeah, I'm just reading those comments about toilet paper. And we're going to have so much fun Friday. Let's see. Everybody's laughing at something. Yeah, Avery said he does have a kind face. Absolutely. Miss Doodle said eggs cost too much nowadays to waste. But back in the 80s, you could, I mean, I don't know. I was a kid. I didn't buy, or teenager. I didn't buy the eggs, but yeah, they definitely weren't as expensive back in the 80s and 90s. I guess late 80s, middle to late 80s when I was doing that kind of thing. It's definitely too expensive now. Avery says, I just told my son we're TPing my sister's house on Halloween. He said, really? Get them all excited. Yeah, Doodle says, not like I would ever do such a thing. Yeah, right. Doodle, doodle, doodle. Yeah, Matt's got a point too. Toilet paper is also more expensive. I don't know about shaving cream. Everything is more expensive now. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I'm going to say, Rita, if you're going to use TP for that, you buy the cheap stuff. Oh, goodness. Maybe I should have included it. Doodle says haunted true crime. Is Fredericktown in there? Oh, goodness. Yeah, we can open that can of worms Friday. Good Lord. There's something going on that's not normal. Quote, normal. Goodness. JP says he wants a Corona extra and lime. Oh, you guys are killing me. I love it. That's why I take time to go through comments. And thank you for everyone who hangs around for the after chat when I go, when we talk about stuff besides the cases and along with the cases. I love this interaction. What? Miss Barbara says she keeps getting knocked out. I keep getting knocked out of here. What are you doing to me? Because it's always your fault. I don't know, Miss Barb, the way it might have been me. I don't know. I might have accidentally, I tried to, when I try to highlight the comments on my phone, you're supposed to just be able to touch it. Like that's why I said, I probably need to clean my phone screen. That might be the reason it's not. But it comes up where, it always comes up where you can ban someone or put them in timeout or whatever. I'm like, no, I don't want to put anybody in timeout. I'm just trying to put their comment on the screen. That sounds good to me. I have to agree with JP. Oh, you're talking about for Mr. I think Wallace was his first name. Avery says, I hope they checked mental institutions because Wallace, I think his last name was Winslow. I can't remember. We'll call him Mr. Wallace, whether it's his first name or last name. Had signs of dementia and Alzheimer's. Avery said, I hope they checked mental institutions. My pappy had dementia and disappeared, and they found him in a mental institution. You would hope so. I think that I think it is or should be pretty much standard that if especially older people go missing, and whether or not they are known to have signs of dementia or Alzheimer's, they'll check, at least check hospitals. Hopefully, I never thought about the mental institution part, but are there really any what mental institutions anymore, or is it just in different hospitals? That's something I was thinking about that the other day. Oh, I was thinking about it when I was putting together the slideshow for the haunted true crime locations. Because I think I had 2 or 3 that were from back in the day. They're all closed now. Former what they call like crazy houses, whatever, mental institutions, like the Trans-Allegheny. They called it the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Do they still have places like that anymore, or is it just done through regular hospitals? I know regular hospitals do have mental wards for people with mental health crises or problems, but I do know Arkansas does have the Arkansas, what they call the Arkansas State Hospital, which is technically the mental hospital. I think it's still open. I don't know, but yeah. Chris also said the mental institutions in Alaska need to be checked out for the sky. Yep. And jails. Yeah, that possibly. Yeah, they would probably check jails too, or to see if a missing person could have been arrested. That is a good point. Oh goodness, what is JP talking about? Went to an AA meeting once, thinking people were going to be drinking. Oh my goodness. He got kicked out. Oh goodness. Sunday Doodles says Alaska being so isolated is beautiful, but a bit creepy. Yeah, I tend to agree. I said I've never been there. I know you can do cruises to Alaska. Now I don't know what all that entails. I think you can do just water cruises, and then what they call land cruises, where you actually do like some of the interior. I know my mom and my aunt have been looking into. They want to go on an Alaskan cruise. Avery says she loves what? Tennessee honey? What is that? Okay, so Boston Christian, is this a remedy? Lemon juice, minced garlic from the jar. Ooh, I like garlic, but ginger from the tube, little cayenne pepper, black pepper, a little more garlic, real honey, stir, more honey. Now make a cup of hot tea, sip it with the flu balm. That's what I do. Oh, JP. Once again, I'm still getting caught up, and then we will get out of here. JP says he's partying with the Lord. Oh, Lord. As Miss Middoodle says, oh, Lordy. Which one are you talking about? Miss Paula says, did the cops catch her? I don't know which one you're talking about. JP says, can I get mod privilege? Do you want me to give the cats a wrench? She said, can I get mod privileges for my cats? Sure. I'll be like Dave. I'll be like Al. I'm throwing wrenches to everybody. I'm not an hour behind in comments. Goodness gracious. Yeah, Avery said, I've always wondered if there really is closure in cases like this. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier about what really is closure. I mean, I said, even if you do find remains and it was found to be nothing criminal, it was either accident or, self-harm. Is that closure? If it was deemed to be a homicide and, like I said, the perpetrator's caught and brought to justice, is that closure? I guess everybody, has their own definition or thoughts on what closure is, but I agree. I know what you're saying. Bring this a little bit closer. I'm having to lean in and my back is hurting me. Since I don't have my camera on, I can get the phone right in front of my face so I can actually read what I'm doing here, even with my glasses. Okay, I know talking about Mr. Wallace Doodle says, now wait, why would he have accidental injuries on the crown? See, I wonder about that too. On the crown of his head, how would they know where the accidental injuries would be? I thought about that too. I mean, I could see how you could accidentally get, because the crown of your head is what, that's the top of your head, right? I'm not good in whatever. I think the crown of your head is basically the top of your head. I mean, there are ways you can accidentally get injuries on the top of your head. I mean, you can. I watch a lot. Me and Mom watch, and I'm not making light or laughing at people hurting themselves, but we watch America's Funniest Videos, and I laugh the hardest at the people who fall. Anyway, I know I'm going to hell for that, but anyway, people stumble forward. They're leaning forward when they stumble, and I've seen so many videos, and I don't understand. Once again, I laugh, but I just go, I wince too, because I'm like, how do these people not get seriously hurt? But you can stumble leaning forward and hit your head on a door or the ground or whatever. So you can accident, because usually when you think of an injury on the top of the head, and something could fall from from above you and hit you on the top of the head. I know that's probably not the point that Miss Doodle was making, but she said, how would they know where the accidental injuries will be? That maybe, see, in it, another thing in his case is that what I found, they did not mention if he had a spouse, a wife at home, or anybody that he lived with, if he lived alone, if his wife, if he'd been divorced for years, if his wife had passed away, that would know, hey, yeah, he had this injury on the top of his head or whatever. So that is a good question. Okay, thank you. Miss Avery cleared up. I had asked about, so she said fetal alcohol syndrome has a plethora of different symptoms, creating the spectrum disorder. Thank you, Miss Avery. She might not be here anymore. Like I said, I'm almost an hour behind in comments. So it's kind of like, I know it's completely different, but kind of like the autism spectrum, there are different levels or different degrees, different symptoms. Once again, I know next to nothing about autism and the spectrum or whatever, but thank you, Miss Avery, for that. I appreciate it. Yep, Avery said a good question that Doodlebug had about the injuries. Nope, that's why we are here, Miss Doodle. We are here to question and to see put all of our little minds, some of you guys, big minds, together and see what we can come up with. Have some good, rational discussions about cases. Questions are good. Avery says that Doodle is, I agree, making sense. I need to look that up. Somebody probably already looked it up. Goodness, everything is lopsided. Good Lord. It's a good thing my camera's not on. I'd be lopsided. Avery said, how big is Anchorage? Let me see if my computer will tell me anything. Let's see. Anchorage, Alaska. So according to Wikipedia, which is the first thing that popped up, Anchorage is officially the municipality of Anchorage is the most populous city in the state of Alaska, with a population of 291,247 people according to the 2020 census. It contains nearly 40% of almost half of the state's population is in Anchorage. It's a metropolitan area, so pretty big. I'm assuming just from that little bit of information. Yeah, if that one city, I don't know how many. Let me go to the page. How many like square miles big it is, or big as in miles, square miles. But yeah, if it has almost 50% of the whole population of the whole state, but I know that large parts of Alaska are what we call rural areas here, unincorporated. Not a lot of people live out. It's a lot of wilderness. I'm sitting here talking like I know what I'm talking about. So 291,247 2020 census contains nearly 40% of the state's population. So it is 1,706 square miles of land area as far as Anchorage. The city is the fourth largest by area in the U.S. So pretty big. We could go down the rabbit hole. It was first settled as a tent city near the mouth of Ship Creek, S-H-I-P, Ship Creek. God, Ship Creek. And when construction on the Alaska Railroad began, it was incorporated as an actual city in November of 1920. Okay, that's our history lesson for the night about the town, city that we were discussing. Anyway, that's why I did not become a teacher. Yeah, lots of people from that area. What? A cop pulled who over? What? No, I was talking. No, I haven't been pulled. It's actually been a while since I've been pulled over. I have been pulled over a lot back, not so much lately, but back in my younger days. No, it must have been when we were talking about, was it Sheila McBroom? The Alaska State Troopers pulled her over. And then she disappeared shortly after they did the sobriety test and she passed. Told her to take a nap. I don't know. That's weird to me too. They just said, "Oh, just what, take a nap in the car," which I mean, yeah, because there are what they call, because I said she was in a pull. I forgot what they called it. Pull up area, pull in area, which are kind of like little bigger areas, and it's not just the shoulder of the side of a road. It's like a larger area that you could pull over in and take a nap or whatever you needed to do. Chris said it's a big city. Yeah, Boston Christian says so many missing people from that area. Women, please stay in groups of 3 when going out. Absolutely. Anybody, I would say anybody, not just, didn't necessarily have to be females. Anybody. Once again, not trying to be a drama queen or histrionic, but if you go anywhere, just please be in a group, especially if if you're in an area that you don't know well, that you're not familiar with. Because men go missing just as much as women do. We hear more about the women going missing. That's why I try to feature a mix of male, female, and children. Unfortunately, yeah, just anybody going out, just go in groups. Coming up on Halloween, a lot of adults do go out to parties or to bars or whatever, bars, nightclubs, restaurants during the Halloween or on Halloween. So just everybody be careful, please. As Dave said, Dave kills me. At the end of the day of everyone to Dave, Alan the Prize Lives, he says, "Don't die." In his sign off, "Don't die." But they're just to the point. Yes, please, nobody die. Yeah, Boston Christian says never split up. Go to groceries together. Get groceries together. Go to get gas together. Yeah. I think. Are you talking about Alaska or Anchorage particularly? Yeah. I say any big city, especially in big cities, but in small towns, things happen in small towns too. I live in a very small town. Things don't happen as much in small towns as they do bigger cities. I think they just happen more frequently these days, if that makes any sense. Let's see. JP, have you still not figured out? Do I need to have you on for a live stream to figure out once and for all if your wife is a clone? JP says, I question everything. My wife still won't admit that she's a clone. She thinks I don't know, but I do. You're going to get in trouble if JP ever disappears. I think we're going to know what happens to JP. That is also has happened too. JP says, makes me wonder how many of these people end up injured and in the hospital somewhere because of memory loss. It is not unheard of. You are correct. There are some cases where people have thought to be missing for years weren't, well, they were missing, but they were okay. They just got some sort of concussion or memory loss, amnesia, didn't know who they were, and then somebody, and they maybe start a whole new life with because they never regained their memory, and years later somebody's especially in the social media age, if they're on social media, on Facebook, whatever, somebody sees a picture, says, hey, that looks like my son or my daughter or my aunt, uncle, or Grandpa Joe or whatever. We thought they disappeared, and here they are alive and well. So you're absolutely correct. Yep. Going back to Sheila, Miss Avery, it says it doesn't sound like she was planning to go to work. See, that's what, yeah, because it mentioned in that other article that would not load, or in some article that I was reading, maybe it was a blog that somebody had written, one of the true crime blogs, because a lot of those come up when I'm doing searches about cases. So I do read them because sometimes I do have some useful information. But in this one I read, I think it said that she was actually going in the opposite direction when she was stopped of the way she should have been going if she was going to work. And then they had mentioned that she was wearing what they called walking shoes, instead of whatever shoes that she typically wore to work. And she was the one that worked for the U.S. Corps of Engineers. So I don't know what type of footwear she'll be wearing. I don't know what kind of job she had with that. Avery said, wonder if she's diabetic. That's a good question. Yeah, we always have to consider, and it's something that I forget to consider a lot of times is, and especially if it doesn't mention, a lot of times the Charlie Project will list medical conditions that they are known to have, the missing are known to have. But it's something I don't really, if they don't mention medical conditions or anything such as diabetes, or because, I have a brother, Echoes, is a diabetic, type 1 juvenile diabetes. And yeah, if it goes too high or too low, it's definitely cause some problems. They get very disoriented. So that is a valid point. Yeah, I was talking about cell phones earlier. Avery says, I think they leave the cell phone so it's not traced. Yeah, so would you consider that, which that could be either one though, whether they left of their own accord and either running off somewhere to start a new life, or on the worst case scenario, self-harm, they would leave their cell phone if they don't want their remains to be found. Or if it's something nefarious, if they were kidnapped or taken against their will, the offender would, leave the cell phone so that it could not be traced. Absolutely. Yep, 30-foot tides. That's why I was saying if she either accidentally or willingly went into the water, and even the police spokesman or spokeswoman said, they had 30-foot tides that day. So if she had went into the water, I'm assuming it's kind of like a cliff area, or maybe an embankment at the very least, that she would have went in with those kind of tides, that it would have been, unfortunately, not a good outcome. And therefore, maybe the reason that if that's what happened, that she has not been found, or her remains have not been found. Yep. Avery says, this saddens me so much. No one ever even looked for her. Yep. That is also a valid point too. Sunday Doodle says maybe she had to go potty and went to the woods and got lost. Also a possibility. And they just didn't find her. I'm still so behind in comments. I just want to get to everybody's before we get out of here. At least I got 9 people here. We're good. And even if I'm talking to myself, I want to address any questions, comments for anybody who's watching on replay. Or if I know a lot of times I watch live streams and we get to the point where I can't watch all of it. I'll go and watch what I missed for the last bit of information. And when people, a lot of creators I know do go through their chat once they get through talking about whatever they're talking about, for questions, comments. So I always go back and check. So anyway, it's a good question. Miss Avery had asked Miss Barb, did she have any type of gut feeling before Timmy was found? I would, I don't want to speak for Miss Barbara. She might still be here. I'm still, new comments are showing up, so I know there's more people still here. I'm by no means speaking for Miss Barbara, but I just know that she said she had a gut feeling, literally a sick feeling on the day, I think maybe when the day that is most likely when Timmy was no longer here with us. I think she said she'd been at church, maybe on a Wednesday, I think. Once again, Miss Barb is absolutely knows she is free. Anybody's free to correct me on any information I have wrong on anything. But that she just got this sick feeling, literal sick feeling in her stomach, around the time that, once again, around the time that it's assumed that Timmy, something happened to him. So she probably did have some kind of feeling. And she probably answered it probably right below. Yep. She says, yes, I knew he wasn't alive. Yep. Thank you, Mustang. Once again, I don't know if y'all are still here. I'm still about 30 minutes behind in comments. Yep, Miss Avery said, I always wonder if moms can sense or feel it. I believe so. Miss Barb said, I've talked to other mothers that didn't think their loved ones were deceased, but I felt it immediately. Yep. Thank you, Miss Jody. Or I say Miss, I don't know. I can't see could be a male or female. I'm sorry. I don't know. Looks like a male. Thank you, Jody, for being here. I always feel bad if I call somebody a male that's a female or female that's a male. I just go by because like Mustang, there's a lot of people that think Mustang is a male because of the, I just use her as an example because she's answered it. Well, if I can get her comment to come up, because she has, I can't remember, it's somebody from Delphi, I think, one of the law enforcement, has her profile picture, so everybody just assumes that it's that Mustang is a male, but she's a female. Thank you, Miss Avery. She said, good night, y'all. See you Friday, hopefully. Yes, I hope to see, like I said, whoever's not doesn't have prior commitments for Friday night can come hang out with us and have some fun. Mustang says, I don't even buy eggs. When we buy, because it's just me and my mom, we buy those. You can get a half a dozen, 6, because we don't, I mean, if we do breakfast, we do breakfast for supper. We don't do breakfast for breakfast. We'll do breakfast for supper. We'll have eggs and bacon, or eggs and toast, eggs and pancakes, something like that. I'm gonna make myself hungry. Yes, use the Dollar Tree TP. Yeah, anybody still here? I think there's oh, now says there's 11 people here. I have new comments that are popping up, and I'm still about 30 minutes behind. I'm behind with you. Oh. Let's see. Yes, eggs are expensive. Thank you very much, Mustang. She may be gone now. Said thanks, great live. Thank you very much. I'll be there for your Halloween party. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank everybody who is here, was here, watching replay. I wouldn't be here if not for you guys. I wouldn't really be talking to myself. Yes, Doug Carter. Thank you. Maybe I'm getting caught up now. Yeah, I couldn't remember his name. Hey, Tech Death Hippie. Good to see you. I always love keeping up with Tech Death Hippie. He teaches guitar. It's always posting pictures of his students and the different guitars and just music in general, which I love music. So if you have not checked out, subscribe to Tech Death Hippie, please do. Yep, we're almost done, but you made it. You made it. You can always go back and watch. Sunday's still here. Miss Peggy's still here. Oh, one of our friends, Black Knight 007. I'm here. I just popped in. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Yeah, we talked about some good cases. Well, I say good cases, not good in a good way, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it would have been better as usual if not for my technical difficulties of not being able to get my farm signal. It wouldn't load anything. But nope, I'm knocking stuff over here, trying to get my tea, my sweet tea. You are very welcome. I enjoy all your stuff. Absolutely. Oh, Doodle's still here. She was listening. She says, that is Doug Carter. Yeah. I couldn't remember his name. I knew it was somebody from, was it Delphi, right? It was one of the police officers or something. I don't know. I stay away from, I have watched select creators that cover Delphi. Not the drama stuff, but so I have a vague kind of, of names, but I couldn't remember exactly the name. The face was familiar. I couldn't think of his name or what he was. I think he was law enforcement. I don't know. Once again, I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about. Oh goodness. Okay, I think I'm finally caught up. All right, guys. Thank you so much for everybody. Like I said, who watched, got this information about all these cases. Everybody in chat, you guys are great as always. Even if you were just lurking and not in chat, you guys are great too for tuning in. Replay crew, you are awesome. Also, replay crew is excellent. So with that, thank you. We're going to get out of here. Once again, about 8:30ish Central Time Friday night. If you want to come hang out, just chit chat, have some fun, maybe learn about some spooky stuff. We'll be doing that. Thank you, Sunday. Thank you, Miss Peggy. Thank you always, Doodle. I love you, Doodle. Yep, Doodle says sleep well and feel loved. Once again, thank you to everybody who has wrenches, who puts in links for me, keeps the eye on chat, although we very, very rarely, thank goodness, have any problems in chat. Great community we have here. Please do check out all our friends, Josh the Posh, Alan the Prowl, Miss Paula, Doodle, PJ. I hate to start naming because I don't want to leave anybody out. Thank you, Black Knight 007. Once again, anybody who's been here, our friend channels, Josh the Posh, where lavender grows. All right, I'm going to shut up now and quit babbling. I love you guys. As always, we're going to leave you, if I can find it on the phone, with the fur babies. One of these days, I'm going to get the time to make a proper outro, but I love you guys, and I will hopefully see you guys Friday night. If not, we should be back hopefully Monday, back to Monday for our Missing Person Monday live. So I will see you guys then. Love you.